Every face got a map, every scar got a name. You walk in with your chains, you walk out with your flame. A small town bench, a long bus ride, a diner booth, a locked up pride. There's a lesson in the pen, there's a key inside the bruise. In the room where no one looks, that's where truth comes through. Claim your space, claim your space. Tell your story, tell your story. Every story has a lesson, every story has a lesson. Claim your space, claim your space. Let it hit, let it open up. In the hands of a baker, in the silence of a train, in a laugh from the stranger, in the middle of the rain. Some truth comes sideways, some truth comes slow. From the places you'd ignore to the things you need to know. There's a lesson in the band, there's a key inside the bruise. In the room where no one looks, that's where truth comes through. Claim your space, claim your space. Tell your story, tell your story. Every story has a lesson, every story has a lesson. Claim your space, claim your space. Let it hit, let it open up. You don't need permission, you don't need a perfect line. What you lived is worth the hearing, what you carry is divine. So step into the light, take the floor, take the mic. The world gets wider when you tell it right. Claim your space, claim your space. Tell your story, tell your story. Every story has a lesson, every story has a lesson. Claim your space, claim your space. Let it open up. Claim your space, claim your space. Tell your story, tell your story.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Just felt like doing a stream, tell you the truth. It's 10:37 on what fucking day is it? I'm off work at the moment. I forget what day it is. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, the 6th of May here in Australia. 10:37 p.m. I was going to go to bed. Wasn't feeling that tired. Yes, Blue Aqua Tiger. I know. I saw you over on Richie's. Yeah, I just thought I can go to bed, or I can jump on and do one of the things I love doing, which is listening to my own voice. Got me new green screen happening. I'm pretty happy, actually. I reckon that looks pretty based, even just that picture alone. Had to tweak the little blending things to make sure, because the green screen's green and my hat's a bit green in real life, and it was kind of chopping my hat out, so I had to adjust some of the settings. But man, as far as green screens go, I reckon that's it's not bad. Not bad at all. Got me camera position and me monitors all kind of laid out. Pretty happy with where it's at so far. So, like I said, just felt like jumping on. I didn't announce this stream anywhere. I didn't post it in my Discord. I didn't post it in anybody else's Discord. I just thought, come on, I'm going to have a look at some more Andrew Wilson when he was on Piers Morgan about a year ago. And I just thought I'll see if I don't announce I'm kind of curious. If I don't announce the stream anywhere, I don't put it in Discord. I'm just curious what the algorithm does. I can see 6 people watching already, which means the algorithm alone is actually pushing the streams out, which is kind of cool, kind of good to know. So, Charles, yeah, my spidey senses tingled. Yeah, how did you know I was on, Charles? I normally have to email you. You must have got I must have popped up. You got a notification. Well, I guess people who have subscribed and rang the bell to get notifications. I never thought about that. I guess that happens. But it's just interesting to see, because sometimes I'll promote it in all these various Discord channels where they have a self-promotion channel and you pop it in there. And it's surprising. Sometimes you get a few, sometimes you get a lot. Re-examination show obviously got word. I was just telling people, Ree, that I'm just doing a stream instead of going to bed. I didn't feel like going to bed, and thought I'll come on. I found an old performance of Andrew Wilson on Piers Morgan, back when Piers Morgan first began the uncensored thing, when he was making a point, when he left the what was it, the BBC or whatever it was. And here's our favourite Pufta. I'm trying to behave myself. But seeing as we've got a little few people now, are we men? You asked for it. You asked for it, buddy.
Chat room lights. Banjo humming. A wild creature appears in the comments section. Name tag says, "Are we not men?" And the first thing he asks, before anyone even says hello, "Are we not men?" Brother, I don't even think you know what the hell that means.
I don't think you know what the hell that means.
Like he on the damn bar. Keyboard chef with a Wi-Fi star. OG status, that's what he claimed, but nobody really know how we got the name. Everywhere we go, we preach one trend. I'm just a good cut, trying to be a good friend. Whole damn chat like, bro, that's nice, but the questions he asks get weird real twice. Are we not men?
Well, that's what you get.
Minutes, like the man stuck buffer in his own damn limits. I'm sitting there thinking while he defend, bro. I don't even know if you know what a man is. I'm busy, say he a man's man, loud and proud, but that question keep echoing through the crowd. Little theory floating around the scene, might be a closet feminist undercover routine.
Could be.
Are we not men? He scream again like a drunk, he lost up in a chat room dead. Good cone energy, trying to defend, but the question loop never fuck. We're not men. What does it mean, bro? You asking like you never been. Up and left me plus quest, yelling questions you can't contest. Appalachian folk rolls, banjo twang while the man explains.
Appalachian.
How Appalachian cut east.
That's the theory.
Railroad train. Whole damn chat like that ain't right. But he swear he saw it on a tweet last night. Talking geography like a mountain guide, but the man ain't even got a map inside. Compass broke, logic bad, still lecturing the whole damn internet. He say Appalachia run east across the land.
Bro, that ain't how mountains work, my man.
Now listen. He ain't from the south, he ain't from the hills, but he talk Appalachian like he pay the bills. He ain't got a map, he ain't got a plan, but he's still yelling, are we not men? Are we not men? He scream again like a drum, he lost up in a chat room dead. Good con energy, trying to defend, but the question loop never fucking end. What does it mean, bro? You asking like you never been. Up and left me plus quest, yelling questions you can't contest.
Melojo shredding stars scream. Chat go nuts in the live stream scene. Every 5 seconds the man descend. Are we not men? Are we not men? Are we not men? Are we not men? Brother, hit the loop again. Are we not men? Are we not men? Louder again. Philosophy drunk in a common thread. Are we not men? Logic sliding. Questions stuck in his fucking head. Are we not men? Say it again. Nobody knows what the hell it means. Up and left. No GPS. Just a man asking existence questions. In a bus station over. Said we not men? Are we not men? Are we not men? Brother, hit the loop again. Are we?
Oh,
Are we not men?
there we go. Oh,
Do we can.
here we go. A little bit long, maybe. Gotta admit. I reckon it's magic.
Philosophy jock in a common thread. Chat room lights. Banjo humming.
Yes, it's over. Okay. Got to admit, it's a little bit long. Could shorten that a little bit, you know. But it does the job. It does the job. So, like I said, nothing too exciting tonight. Just felt like jumping on, spending a bit of time with you guys. Whoever pops in. I'm not gonna just sit here and talk, you know. You don't want to listen to me just talking shit. I mean, I could do plenty of that if you wanted to. But just gonna look over I just love looking over Andrew Wilson debates. I always get something. Even when I watch them multiple times, you always get a new little gem that comes out of it. This one was from a while ago. It was like a year ago. But it was when Andrew was first appearing on Piers Morgan, a bit of a panel. And I think it'll be a bit of fun to watch. So let's get into it. I'll just rearrange things here a little bit. We'll go something like this. And then we'll go something like this. And let's do it. Very dramatic entrance. This is him proving he doesn't give a shit. This was, I think, the beginning of Piers Morgan Uncensored. Don't know exactly what point he's making. I wonder if he ran this intro by his production crew. Was there a team meeting where he proposed, or someone said, how about we have a glass of water, eat a banana, rub the skin on your face? That'll teach him. And someone said, yeah.
Adolescence on Netflix is currently the biggest show in the world. The drama about a 13-year-old misogynist who kills a teenage girl has been seen by 25 million people so far.
Now I remember. This was about the, there was a Netflix series kind of demonizing the so-called manosphere. There was some sort of based on some kind of a true story, but they changed the characters around to fit the narrative that young boys are being radicalized by the manosphere, by the men. Ashton, no, Achilles. Good to see you, man. Sorry, I mistook you for Ashton. Good to see you. All right, let's see. Let's find out about how bad men are. I got to go off camera for a second, but I'm still listening.
And was raised by the British Prime Minister in Parliament.
With our children, I've got a 16-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl. And it's a very, very good documentary to watch, or drama. This violence carried out by young men, influenced by what they see online, is a real problem. It's abhorrent, and we have to tackle it.
It's actually a fictional story, Prime Minister, not a documentary, but as the Prime Minister referenced, it tells the story of young boys who are radicalized by content online. There are references to the manosphere, the Matrix, incels, and red pills. Andrew Tate gets a name check. And that part of the show has sparked an outpouring of commentary about the abject horrors of the internet and the crisis of male role models.
Banged by a girl, you sausage.
You're not getting it.
What am I not getting?
Dad, you're not reading what they're doing. It's a call to action by the manosphere. 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. You must trick them because you'll never get them in a normal way.
Well, The Guardian summed up the general tone of the reporting with a headline that said, from the police to the Prime Minister, how adolescence is making Britain face up to toxic masculinity. But is it really? Can it not just be a successful drama that references popular culture, as so many do? Critics of the show say it's another version of the same man-bashing narrative that gave rise to the so-called manosphere in the first place. Well, here to debate all this is the host of The Crucible, Andrew Wilson, the radio host, James Barr, the host of Tommy Lahren is Fearless on Outkick, Tommy Lahren, and the host of The Determined Society, Sean Fraser. Welcome to all of you. Andrew Wilson, let me start with you, because look, I've got three sons, 31, 27, 24. I think I brought them up to respect women, to not behave in a misogynist way, and to behave in a pretty decent way generally. But I'm also aware that they've grown up in an era when the likes of Andrew Tate and others have become increasingly dominant in the way that a lot of impressionable young men start to think and view women. And for all that Andrew Tate can say that is positive about getting fit and being successful and confident and so on, there's indisputably a hardcore.
Jariah makes a good point. There was never a picture of the actual offender. I can't remember exactly, but I have a feeling I know what you're getting at.
Streak of misogyny that runs through his veins, which I think has been quite damaging to young men. So I'm not all in either way here, but I can certainly see the arguments. Where do you sit?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that this. So I watched the show, and it just goes through a typical feminine view, right? So all of these things are always through the prism of the feminine. So young boys, they don't do well in school. They don't do well in school because it's all programmed for the feminine. Stay still, fold your hands, right? Be quiet. Boys are rambunctious. They like to beat each other up. They like to be mischievous. They like to break things. They like to do that kind of stuff. There's no.
On that point, I went to a all-boys high school. Christian Brothers were ran the school. So we had Christian Brothers and we also had lay teachers. And I have to say, in hindsight, like back then, I thought it would have been cool to have girls at school. In hindsight, looking back, I'm really grateful to have gone to a boys' school. We had plenty of opportunities to meet girls. There was a girls' school around the corner and there was a co-ed school around the other corner. So on the weekends and after school and the train stations, we had plenty of time to socialise with girls. But at school, it gave the teachers an opportunity to treat us like little shits that we were, right? We would have a teacher literally kick us in the ass like literally stick his boot in your ass. It was the kind of thing that we needed. If we, I got caught smoking at school, the punishment was you come to school on a Saturday for 3 hours and you do work in the garden. You dig up cacti and you spread manure over the lawn. You also sneak off for a smoke while you're on detention. But they had a different attitude. They were able to sort of express that energy that boys responded to.
Outlet for them to do that stuff. Their teachers are all women, right? There's basically all masculinity is now considered toxic, basically all of it. The same women who are getting their double shot of espresso on the way over to the school they're about to teach at, they're 24 years old. Sometimes they're banging their own students, right? Hilariously enough. And then these people go out to Parliament. The same women will go to Parliament.
That's actually a fact. Have you guys seen the epidemic of female teachers having, I'm going to just call it inappropriate relationships with students? And when I say students, I'm talking about like minors. I sometimes follow a law and crime channel, and every fucking week there's another teacher, another female teacher in court over things like this. Trailer Thrash. Good to hear from you, man. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate you popping in while you're at work. Thank you, man.
They vote to send men off to war to stab each other in the face with bayonets. And you're concerned about toxic masculinity. It cracks me up. It's like the brutal savagery of men is a necessary precondition for society to exist. And we just kind of pretend like it's not. And this show should actually be an indictment on the feminine rather than the masculine, because basically masculinity is just punished everywhere all the time, nonstop. It's no wonder guys like Andrew Tate.
The young fella in the middle is so busting to defend feminism. The young guy in the middle, I've seen him before. I swear he's a troll. He's gay, but for whatever that's worth, he'll say that. Like, that's the position he's coming from. But he's anti-masculine, put it that way.
Get so famous in these spaces. I mean, what's the alternative? The alternative is everything must be feminine, tone policing, nonsense like this. It's ridiculous.
All right, James Barr, you were laughing, but I don't think you had a joy
crazy.
what you're hearing.
No, I mean I don't think you've seen the show. Episode 2 is shot entirely in a school. I didn't see one of the female teachers drinking a double shot of espresso at all. None of the teachers were flirting with students. There were male teachers as well. I don't think you're describing the.
That's bad faith. Andrew was talking about he was being a little bit hyperbolic for the purpose of making his point. And then this young guy's going, those things weren't in the show. I didn't see anybody buying a double espresso. That's not what Andrew was saying. Andrew was talking about the latte crowd, right? The fact that the young teachers, it's the image. Gets up in the morning, makes herself a smoothie, does some Pilates, gets a double espresso on the way to work. Teachers supposed to be teaching young boys, right? That's what he's getting at. And this young guy, like they always do, they'll take a metaphor or they'll take an analogy and they'll say, oh, that's not really, they try to apply it literally. It's such a bad faith move.
Show here, I think you're describing your own insecurities or agenda.
Yeah,
and there's the first ad hom, your own insecurities or agenda.
This doesn't contend with the argument. Like, do you understand that I'm making an argument, an indictment of society itself based around my ideas that I'm seeing from this show? That's what I'm actually doing. So if you could contend with the fact that male savagery is necessary for the security of a nation and that women will indeed vote in the future in parliaments to send men off to war to stab each other in the face at 18 years old with bayonets, perhaps you can contend with that before we start, getting into, well, tone policing is actually good and toxic masculinity is actually bad. It's like, I think there needs to be a little bit more toxic masculinity, or what you consider to be toxic masculinity.
Well, great, good for you.
Nothing?
I'm glad you think so.
Nothing?
Yeah,
You got
I mean, I
nothing?
just don't need to
Nothing.
argue with that
You
because
just
that's-
unlocked? You just unlocked? You got nothing?
You're making up
You
an
do
agenda
seem
that
unusually
I've not said
muted by
any,
that,
I've not
James.
said anything. I haven't literally said nothing about
James, you were
toxic
literally
masculinity.
rendered silent.
That's the point. He said, I literally said nothing. That was the point.
Like you had no way of responding.
I'll tell you what, you can't argue with a completely illogical argument that has, like, I've not made any of the
It's a
comments
logical argument. You may not agree with it.
I've not made any of the
making a perfectly
comments
logical argument.
that you are firing at me. None of those comments are things I've said or believe in.
All right, I want to bring Tommy in because Tommy, you've got a very interesting perspective. I think you've talked about something different. You call it the pussification of men, which is a great phrase. I'd love you to just explain what you mean by that. But also, you're not a fan of Andrew Tate or the influence he has. So that makes you, I think, an interesting commentator in this area. So just explain, first of all, the pussification of men.
All right, Piers.
Okay, before she starts, have you seen Tommy Lauren's PSA announcement she made one time when she went on a little bit of a rant trying to tell men how to be real men in order to get women like her? It was, I tried to look it up. I couldn't find the original. I could only find people kind of commenting on parts of it. It was absolutely unbelievable. She's clapping her hands. Make a plan. Men, do this. Men, do this. Don't be chasing, she said, don't be chasing the Thotianas. Me and my friends are attractive and we're intelligent and we require men. And she had a list. It was all written out in pen. She had a list. Make a plan. Do this, do that, do that. It was basically unhinged.
Well, I think, and I can't see you all, so forgive me if I'm incorrect here, but I think I'm the only female on this panel.
Correct.
So I'm really anxious to weigh in. Okay, so I think over the last probably 10 years, there has been what I call the pussification of men. It was everything should be about your emotions and your feelings, and men were emasculated, and this whole concept of toxic masculinity warped the minds of a lot of young men, and they felt masculine. They wanted to be masculine, but society was telling them they should be softer, that it was being toxically masculine if you wanted to play sports and chop wood and go to war. And so men were so emasculated and so beat down that then there was this revolution of what was actually toxic masculinity, the Tate brothers and others, which I feel as a female that doesn't represent true masculinity. That to me represents douchebaggery.
What the fuck would she know about true masculinity? Right. What the hell would she know? What's she going to tell us? Well, I kind of know what she's going to tell us.
And as a woman, I want a strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will protect me, protect my family, make money. I see that as being actually masculine. That's like the man that I grew up with, my dad. But what we're seeing now is these young men who look at Andrew Tate and the Tate brothers, and they see somebody who's just quite frankly a douchebag and disrespects women. And because they've been so emasculated, they're like, oh, great, that's a manly man. But that's not right either. So at some point, I think we'll go back to maybe meeting in the middle here. You can be a man who has feelings and emotions, but you can also go to war and protect and defend your.
Okay, so this is something I've been thinking about recently, and I saw some other videos. Being a man who has emotions. System crash. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. So when women say, you know, we were talking about is vulnerability a strength? I think it was on Speakeasy's hot seat one night. And my argument is that vulnerability by definition is not a strength. If you had a city, this is an analogy, you have a city under siege, a walled city, and you're trying to keep the enemy out, and the enemy's attacking, and they find a weakness in the wall, they find a vulnerability, that's not a strength. What women like her mean when they say a man should express his emotions, what they mean is he should express emotions like a woman. Female type emotions in the way that women express emotions. She has no idea what goes on in a man's mind or what goes on in a man's heart. Right. Often, this idea that men are conditioned to be stoic, men are conditioned to not suppress, but to mediate their own emotions. That's not just conditioning. That's a natural thing for men, because we've got shit to do. We're going to have to defend our family at times. We're going to have to make hard decisions. We're going to have to overcome our emotions or at least control them. In an emergency, you watch a video of a tree being cut down and it's falling on a house. You'll hear guys in the background going, "Oh shit, there it goes. Oh, you fucked up." You'll also hear women screaming, right? Right? Do you want men to express themselves like women? No. So when she says men need to be vulnerable and express their emotions, she just means they need to act more like women. It's completely valid for men to mediate and to monitor and to keep a check on their emotions and to direct that into appropriate action. And Trailer Thrash, what's my opinion on Andrew Tate? I don't have much of an opinion. I think he's a provocateur, basically, at the end of the day. He has some interesting takes. His interview with Katie Hopkins was kind of interesting. I thought that was interesting. And when he was in the interview, I think with Bonnie Blue, that was kind of interesting. But apart from that, I think he's a provocateur. I don't put a lot of weight into what he says or does.
Family. I'm hoping we can get back there. But the two extremes right now, they're confusing men, and quite frankly, they're leaving women with few choices. And that's the real tragedy here.
You see, I completely agree with you. But Andrew, you were shaking your head quite vigorously. Why?
Leaving women with few choices. That's the real tragedy. Men are being emasculated. Women most affected. Perfect.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just more feminine or feminist nonsense ultimately. And the covert feminism in society is big, especially on the conservative side. So here's what happens, right? Women need to have feminine virtues for men to be pursuing masculine virtues, for you to say things like, well, men, what I want is for men to protect me and I want men to make money. Well, that's great. What that ends up doing is it gives you a set of privilege in society. What do men get? What do men get for doing that for you? What are we getting from women for doing that? Are we getting chaste virgins on our wedding night? No, we're not getting chaste virgins on our wedding night. Are we getting women of great virtue? No, we're not getting women of great virtue. The idea of courtly love is supposed to be done for women of great virtue. Where are they? Well, they're nowhere. And so in modernity, in society, when female conservative influencers say this, it's actually a form of covert feminism. They're saying, I want privilege in society, right? But what is it women are giving to men to get it? What are they giving them? Tell me.
Well,
the young fella in the middle here has no idea. Like he cannot believe. He cannot believe what he's hearing. He's totally out of his depth here.
Piers, can I please chime in here?
Yes, you can. And then James can, and I'll come to you, Sean.
No, I would love to. I love this whole thing of like, if you're a female conservative and you don't believe that men should be douchebags, that all of a sudden you're a covert feminist. Call me a feminist. I really don't give one crap one way or another. But I can tell you this, a lot of these men, these podcast hosts on the right that like to think of themselves as these big masculine men, and what am I getting out of it? I can tell you this.
There's that feminism.
All right, I believe I'm a woman of virtue, right? Yeah, there's the feminism. Oh, and then you're interrupting me too.
Didn't take long, did it? Didn't take long, did it?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to speak over me?
Yeah, I don't care if you call me. I don't really care if you call me a
strong,
feminist.
Independent woman.
Yeah. You're actually interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you when you were spewing your bullshit. So now it's my turn. Okay.
You mean the truth?
Like I said before. So I believe there we go again. Piers, I'm a woman of virtue. I happen to be independently successful. I have a husband who's not only a former professional athlete, but is currently a professional baseball coach. So is he not a masculine man? I mean,
David, that's Tammy Lauren. She's a TV host on one of the American. She's supposed to be conservative, and Andrew's kind of bringing out her inner feminist.
confused here. What's your concept
you
of a
understand that
masculine man?
misses the
Mine is a
point,
man who
that
respects
misses-
me.
Yeah, that misses the point, though. Like, you're still not contending with the argument that I'm
what's your
making. I'm
point?
saying inside of society, right this second, right, masculinity is not only punished, but also women on the right, covert feminists on the right, are constantly and consistently talking about how they need to have privilege in society. I want men. Their version of masculinity is men who take care of us, men who protect us, men who do all of this. Those are all duties that men have towards women. Great. What are the duties that women have towards men? What are the duties that women have towards anything? What do men get out of this arrangement? What are we getting out of this arrangement? Can you tell me?
I mean, you.
Well,
as
I
I
would
was going to
argue
answer
that
a
men
second ago.
innately
and-
should be
I'll tell you-
I don't want to
protectors
interrupt
and
you.
Hang on one second. Let Tommy
Most men are
respond.
born that
Let
way.
Tommy respond to that, and then I'll come to you, Jez. And then
Yeah,
Sean,
most
you've
men
been
are-
waiting patiently. So
Most men are born to be protectors and providers. I can't imagine my dad saying, you know what, to my mom, you know what, I'm not going to be a protector and a provider unless you do this. That's not how real men operate. Real men are protectors and providers, and they marry women who hopefully
great.
have
A
some
woman telling
virtue,
us what
but
real
also
men
bring a
are
lot to
again.
the
Great.
table as well, that are great mothers, great wives, caretakers of the home. There's nothing wrong with being a traditional wife and mother.
She doesn't say what a great mother and a great wife is. Like Andrew lays out some criteria to what being a great husband is. Like he lays out the duties. She says, yes, men are born that way. This is literally what she's saying. Men are born that way. That's what they're supposed to do. And she says, you know, women can be great wives and great mothers, but she never answers the question, which is, what does that mean? Like what do you do? What is the actual expression of being a great wife and being a great mother?
You're misunderstanding me if you think that I think that women should just be out doing whatever they want. I think that there
love getting
are
lectured
gender
by
roles that
women
should
on
be
what real men
respected.
are. That's
But I
great.
don't think a man needs to get something out of it to be a manly man, a protector, and a provider. If you think you
So
need
nothing.
to get
So you
something
should
out
have
of it,
nothing.
I quite frankly don't
Yeah, so
consider you a
nothing.
real man.
Yeah, so you have
Okay.
nothing.
There we go. That's what Kevin Samuels would call sign language. It's shame, insults, what's the G? Guilt, I think, and the need to be right. So she's now going with the shaming. You're not a real man. My dad would never do that. And yeah, system crash. What am I protecting and providing for if I get nothing? Now, Andrew's putting it in pretty, I'll say crude language, not in a rude sense, but crude as in just rough edges. She's saying, yes, a man should provide. He should put his life on the line. He should break his back, working. He should do all of that. And Andrew goes, well, what do we get? Now, that's a crude way to put it, but like, is she saying just do it? Like, expect nothing out of your life except to serve? To just serve the women, protect them and look after them. Just don't have any expectations for yourself.
So you have nothing.
But we'll
No women
discuss
have
in a
no
moment
duties,
whether
nothing.
Andrew
They just get
Wilson is a
privilege.
real man.
Piers,
But
Piers,
let's
I
go to-
offer nothing. I offer nothing.
You
He didn't
offer me
offer
a
a single
lot of
argument.
things, Tommy.
No.
That's why I always love having you on the show. You know that. Let's go to a real man, James Barr.
Thank you. I do see myself as a man, and I know that you were looking at me thinking, well, you're not. You're wearing makeup. You're wearing colourful clothes.
I think most men don't say I see myself as a man. That's not a thing, right? That's not. I wouldn't imagine Piers or Andrew or myself or Charles Darwin saying, or Are We Not Men, saying, well, I consider myself as a man. So that's just crazy.
It's like, look at me, I'm really camp, my nails are
Yeah, I
painted.
mean, they are worrying signs. I
You're
agree.
sat there smoking a cigarette. I'd love to get a vape out and start drinking a beer, pints with the lads, just connect with you over that. I think that you have some insane opinions on what women are meant to do for you. It's crazy that you don't appreciate that a woman actually gave birth to you. Like, she gave you a womb for 9 months and then looked after you, I would hope, for the beginning of your life.
Yeah, that would be your mother. Right. Andrew's talking about your wife. This guy's a friggin' idiot. Okay. This guy's a freaking idiot.
And you're sat there going, what do women owe men? Women don't owe men anything. No one owes you anything. You have your own life.
Do you understand that if you make an argument and you say that
I've
women are
watched
supposed
your
to be
seminar on how to win an
in a
argument.
position, if women are supposed to be in a position of privilege where men do A, B, C, and D for them, and then I ask, well, what duties do women have? And you say, well, nothing.
No one said
right?
that
And then you
men
wonder,
need.
why are men
Personally,
checking out? I don't know why men are checking out. I don't get it.
You just
That's
sound
silly,
so funny.
man.
All right,
That's
let
a
me bring
silly
in.
argument.
All right, let me bring in the one person who so far hasn't said a word about this. Has a lot of interesting things to say. Sean, welcome to Uncensored. I mean, I think one of the key things of this series that's made it so popular is that anyone who's had young sons knows that they are, if you're not careful, they get exposed to a lot of nasty stuff on the internet. We all know this. And a lot of it is this kind of incel stuff, which I think can be a really malevolent influence on impressionable young men. And they gravitate to it. And I think that partly what Andrew's getting at, I agree with, in the sense that following the Me Too Time's Up campaigns, which were in many ways, extremely laudable, brought down a lot of very bad men, no question of that. But they also, the pendulum swung so wildly that I think a lot of young men in particular felt completely disenfranchised from society, felt like they're all being treated like a bunch of young Harvey Weinsteins, unless they could prove otherwise. They didn't really know what the rules of engagement were with women, with teenage girls anymore, whatever. They lost their way. And by losing their way, they gravitated, I think, to very loud voices on the internet like Andrew Tate, who I think, like I say, he says a lot of stuff I find myself nodding to, and then he'll say this misogynist stuff, which I just despise it. I see no reason why you should ever want to have a relationship with a woman the way that Andrew Tate wants you to, where it's just pure misogyny. Just talk to me first of all about why you think young boys, teenage boys, young men, why they've gravitated to people like Tate. Because I have.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I think it's, first of all, we got to understand that we have an amazing responsibility as a parent to lead from the home and to have these open conversations with our young children. All right, whether they're male children, female children, we have to make sure that we're having open door conversations and we are tackling the hard subjects. Because if we don't take care of everything at home, we don't take care of everything in public, like at school and other forces within society that help raise our children, we always say it takes a village. Well, it certainly does, but it starts at home. And if you cannot have these open conversations and allow your children to be honest and open with how they are feeling about society and the things that they are seeing, they are going to go to misogyny. They're going to go to the Andrew and Tristan Tates of the world, and they're going to learn how to be a man from that. And that is not what society needs. It's not what the world needs. That is not masculinity. It is masquerading as misogyny.
How do we protect young men from the easy access at the moment there is to people like Tate? I mean, how do you actually put a ring fence around them so that you can tackle exactly what you've just said, but they're not also being dragged into that world?
It's tough because they're growing up in a world we never grew up in, Piers. We didn't grow up with the internet. We didn't grow up with Bumble, Tinder, Instagram, Facebook.
No, I was taught how to treat women by my mother, my grandmother.
Open the door, right?
Aunts,
Open the door.
A lot of strong women in my family, very strong women, and they would just take no crap from the men. So that's the environment I grew up in.
Absolutely. So how do we insulate our children from this? By having conversations, putting parameters around the social media aspects of life and having the conversations at home. Hey, son, hey, daughter, this is what you're going to see out there in the real world. This is what you're going to see on the internet. If you see something like this, that is not how a true man is supposed to act. And hey, that's not how a real man's supposed to treat you.
Right. So
we have to have the conversations.
Yeah. Andrew, do you intrinsically
Actually, David, that's a thing. After the Louis Theroux documentary with that, I don't know, that guy, I'd never heard of him, supposed to represent the manosphere, and then Piers Morgan had him on, and he tried to goad the bloke, and the bloke brought up Piers's wife. That was fucking brutal. Piers actually walked off his own show. That was rough.
disagree with what you've just heard?
Yeah, I do. I think, again, All of this is always the burden on men, burden on men, burden on men. Men need to be doing this.
No, it's a family, Andrew. The family.
Hang on. Let
the
me finish,
family,
man.
Andrew.
Men need to,
husband and wife.
Okay, yeah. So let me back up. Okay, again, men need to do this. Men need to do that. What I'm talking about is what duties do women have in society? What are the actual women's duties towards men? Everybody is raised from the time they're kids how we're supposed to treat women. We all know how to treat women. We never talk about how men are supposed to.
A really basic point I thought about, actually. Really, really the simplest example of this. Most young guys raised properly are told, never hit a woman, never hit a girl. I've never heard of girls being told never hit a bloke. Like, you would think that would be a smart thing to teach young women, right? Never hit a bloke. In fact, I think they get raised with quite the opposite, with the idea that you can get away with pretty much anything because boys will never hit women. But wouldn't it make sense to also tell young girls never hit boys?
Be treated. That's almost never discussed, especially by how women are supposed to treat men, what their duties in society are. This has been completely dispelled. Guys like Tate have risen because Christianity itself has become a feminized religion, especially the Protestant sects has become completely feminized. And it didn't used to punish masculinity at all. And now it does. And so where's the alternative? Where's the spiritual alternative? It's nowhere. And we need to get back to this fundamental question of what even is misogyny? Because I don't think that men kicking the crap out of each other, being brutes, insulting each other, hazing each other, even bullying each other is misogyny. Not only do I not think it's misogyny, I think it's perfectly healthy.
Yeah, but I don't think that's misogyny.
Well adjusted.
Is that the argument?
But that is not misogyny.
Well, no. Hang on. How women see this is totally
misogyny is where you have a hatred or whatever you want to phrase it towards women. It's not about men treating men.
Sorry, toxic masculinity is what I'm referencing here, and toxic masculinity is what they're claiming leads to misogyny. So what I'm talking about is these are all masculine traits. There's nothing wrong with them, right? When you're talking about misogyny itself, I want to know what that even is. Is it just asserting yourself to women, telling women no, telling them no, that's bullshit?
No, I would say, okay, let me
telling
answer
them you're saying stupid things?
One of the things about bullying, like, I don't approve of bullying, and especially when it's relentless on someone small and stuff like that. It's a hideous thing. But I've got to say, when I was in high school, like I said, at the all-boys school, around second form, so I would have been, 12 or 13, some of the most defining moments for me was contending with bullies. Standing up to them, getting into a tussle, holding my ground. That was a turning point, because around that age, boys are becoming like the testosterone's rising. Physicality becomes a way that young men, boys, start to assert themselves, and you need to contend with it. And what Andrew's talking about, bullying, fighting, rambunctious, teasing, hazing, stuff like this, it's all part of, it's rough. It is rough, but the solution is to fight through that, not to, stop it. Everyone be nice. Everyone be kind.
Andrew Tate says he's quite open about it. Women should stay at home. They shouldn't go out to work. They should do what he tells them. He's the king of the castle in his house, blah, 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 blah. That is misogyny, isn't it? I've got a daughter. I've got a 13-year-old daughter. I don't want her thinking she can never leave the house. She's somebody's chattel.
It's not never leaving the house. Look, it is true that the world would be a better place if we didn't have it inverted and women did have a natural role at home, and that was glorified, and that there was government propaganda around the nuclear family and keeping women home. Why do you want to outsource the raising of children to strangers instead of your wife? That's a way better society. Why do you want your best and brightest women forced to go to a workplace instead of the best and brightest women staying at home raising their children? That's a way better system. It's always been a better system.
I guess we're talking freedom of choice.
That's not misogyny.
Actually, the woman sort of touted as the proto-feminist before Simone de Beauvoir was Mary Wollstonecraft. She actually wrote that she felt that women should be educated so that they could be smart parents for their children, right? That makes sense.
Women to do anything. It's freedom of choice. It's freedom of choice. I want my.
We have a libertarian. It's freedom of choice. It's freedom of choice, and it's consent. Freedom of choice and consent will solve everything.
I love the fact that my wife's out there working, teaching kids and building adolescents. I love that. I love that. And to your point about what do I get from a woman? I have a home. I have 3 beautiful children. I have communication in the house. And to me, that means more than anything. Like, I don't understand where I'm not saying you're wrong in your world, but to sit there and say to a woman, what do I get out of this woman? That's treating her like an object.
One thing I want to play a clip.
Okay, so it's okay to treat men like objects, give them duties,
I
but
don't
you're not
feel
allowed
like
to
an
give
object.
women duties.
I feel respected.
Okay,
in
well,
my
let me
home.
ask you this.
I'm not
How
angry
come it is
about
in the
it.
United States that men can be drafted? Women can't be drafted, but women can vote to send men to war. 18 years old, they're stabbing each other in the face with bayonets. Women can vote to send men to war that they then themselves do not have to fight. It's a duty that men have, they do not have. What's the counter duty for women? There's no obligation for women to have children. We're well under replacement rate. It's slated 45% of women will be single in the next 10 years, up to 60% in the next 30. That's the estimates right now. Our replacement rate, we can't even replace our own country's birth rates. That's how low they are.
Maybe
this is what we're seeing
people
as,
like you that's causing the problem.
as a systemic issue inside of society because nobody will put duties on women.
Go on,
Instead,
James.
you just
Maybe it's men like
men have
you
all
that
the
are
duty.
making that
Maybe that's why the
happen. Maybe you're the
replacement
problem.
rate is low.
Yeah,
Women don't
It's
men are the
crazy to
problem.
me as well that
Exactly.
you were
There
just
we go.
sat here
Men are the
Don't talk
problem.
over each other. Let James speak.
I can't understand why you are sat there confidently thinking of yourself as a victim constantly. You have a platform and you're sat here like, I'm a victim. What are women doing for me? What happened in your childhood that has made you so traumatized as an adult?
Oh,
What a little dickhead. What a little prick.
That
yay,
you
feminine
cannot stand
psychoanalysis.
women succeeding. I'm so confused. I feel
Who
like the
hurt
problem
you,
is not-
Andrew? Who
and
hurt
actually,
you?
Maybe this is our fault. Maybe this is the left's fault. Maybe this is modern society's fault for leaving people like you behind. But genuinely, we do not hate men, and toxic masculinity has been thrown around a lot. Ultimately, some of what you're saying is toxic, but that's not because you're a man. That's because you're an idiot.
All right.
Okay, so just to give you a quick rejoinder here, again, didn't contend with a single argument I made. You just said, "Why are you acting like a victim?" While you're here talking about how women are
You're not
victims.
contending with arguments that other people
it's
are making.
wild to me. It's so wild to
You know,
me.
All
this
right,
is
I want to
Piers'
play.
show.
Let me
You have
play
no
another clip.
I know this is Piers' show.
Let me go to Tommy. Tommy, I want to play you a clip. This is from a show called Newsnight on the BBC in the UK, where the host Victoria Darvish had a panel of young men on and asked them, when was the last time you cried? Let's watch this.
When was the last time you cried?
Honestly, the last time I cried, I couldn't tell you.
Same with Leo. I can't really remember the last time that I cried fully.
A lot of times I feel emotion and I look at myself, why can't I cry? We're told to suppress our emotions.
I feel like to guys, we may be treated a certain way that evokes an idea that we have to be extremely strong and upfront and here as a man, and I'm going to be composed at all times.
Now, I've got a slight issue with this, Tommy, in the sense that one of the most devastating moments for me as a movie watcher was watching James Bond blubbing in the last Bond movie. Right? I don't think to prove you're a modern man, you need to be sobbing all the time.
I was just thinking while they were talking, I can't remember the last time I cried. I think there are some major events in your life, you know, when you lose someone, something like that. But generally speaking, I really can't remember the last time I cried. I'll admit there are moments. I'll be watching a movie with Mrs. Markin. It'll be something that she chose. You know, I tend to not watch the movies she chooses because they tend to be chick flicks, and I'm not really into that. Which is okay because she won't watch the movies I want to watch, which tends to be sci-fi. The one thing we can come together on is watching sort of war movies. We both kind of get into that. I can remember moments where I'm sitting with Katie and we're watching a movie together, and there might be some sad moment, and for some reason, it's making me emotional. Maybe it's making me remember something from the past, and I feel my eyes welling up, and I can just I'm going, don't do it. I'm just sitting there, don't do it. I can feel a little tear, and I'll just pretend I'm rubbing my eyes. You know, my glasses are getting a bit, my eyes are tired. Rub my glasses. I don't think that's a bad thing. That we're told that's suppressing your emotions. It's not suppressing your emotions, it's controlling your emotions. They're different things. Leaky eyes don't count. Kieran cried when Katie said she couldn't watch Frozen again. Never seen it. Haven't seen 2 seconds of it.
You know, I can't remember the last time I cried. It doesn't make me less of a man or less empathetic to people or anything. I think again, the pendulum issue of what we want men to be. I think we're now trying to persuade a lot of young men, if you're not emoting all the time, then you're being suppressed in some way. We have over here the British stiff upper lip, which I think is a really bad rap. I think it's not a bad thing to actually not over emote. Your thoughts?
Oh, look, people are throwing out movies. You know the movie Luke? Was it Luke? Shane. No, the movie Shane. When the little fella's calling out, Shane, Shane. And Shane's riding off into the sunset. That was pretty sad. Or Old Yeller. Old Yeller was pretty sad. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think.
Oh, sorry, Sean. I'll come to you. That was for Tommy. I'll come to you in a minute, Sean.
Oh, sorry, Tom.
For Tommy.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all, Piers. I don't think that men should be trained to be overly emotional and that should be a sign now of new maturity, being emotional. I don't agree with that. I don't.
Interesting language. I don't think men should be trained in this way. The implication is they should be trained in a different way. Fuck off.
I don't think there's anything wrong with men crying in certain circumstances. Listen, everybody has a different journey. Everybody has a different set of circumstances. There are circumstances wherein men crying, I have no issue with. It's also not up to me to tell a man when he can or cannot cry. I personally prefer the men in my life not to be overly emotional, but that's just a personal preference. Really, who am I to tell a man how he should exhibit his emotions? But again, I think that there is two sides.
She was literally telling men how to be men like 5 minutes ago. This is Schrodinger's feminist, right? Schrodinger's feminist right here.
Sides here that are both too extreme. You've got the one hand that wants men to be feminine and cry and show their emotion and be weak. And then you've got the other side that says you cannot cry. You must always be strong. And you should look at women as an object. So again, there's got to be a happy medium here. I think there once was, but now because of, again, I agree, there was an overreaction of the feminist movement to make men weak. I don't agree with that either.
Yeah.
I just wish we could come to a place where there was a happy medium where people could just be human beings who could have a gender role, but weren't married to that gender role in absoluteness. There's got to be a place for that. I would certainly hope.
Yeah. Andrew Wilson, when was the last time you cried?
When I had a death in my family.
And how long ago was that, if you don't mind me asking?
Many, many, many years. Yeah, many years. I don't know, maybe a decade, something like that.
Right. So you haven't shed a tear in a decade?
I don't think so, no.
Would you see it inherently as a weakness in a man to over-emote?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Men, listen, you don't want men to fall to pieces in crisis. You're the head of a family. You're the head of your household. And also you're the heads of nations. You have a moral obligation not to fall to pieces. In fact, I would say you're duty bound not to. You need to be able to control your emotions, and you need to be able to attempt to control them at all times. It's not to say that you're not going to lose control. Nobody's perfect. But I think that the idea of the stoic man is a much better prospect for the idea of like this leftist that I'm arguing with next to me on the panel. I would not want to be that guy, that person who just cannot control their internal emotions. They can't do it. And unfortunately, again, this is through the viewpoint of the feminine prism that it's only through empathy, right? Empathy first. And it's like, no, it's not always about empathy. It's also about reason. It's also about logic. It's also about understanding that we live in a carnal world full of warring tribes who are always killing each other. And that's part of the human condition. You can't afford to have your men losing control to emotion or to empathy.
James, when was the last time you didn't cry on a date? Let's flip the question around.
I haven't cried today, but I did cry yesterday, and I think it's okay to cry. And it's funny that you keep trying to goad me and saying that I don't have control of my emotions. I think I have incredible control over my emotions because I know what's upsetting me and when, and I'm able to talk about it.
Well, how often do you cry?
I mean, not all the time, but
every day?
No, not every day, Piers. I cried
Two or
yesterday.
three times
I probably
a week?
haven't cried for about 3 weeks before that. But honestly, my therapist tells me I need to cry, and it's a good relief.
But the point being, Andrew hasn't cried in 10 years.
I think that is such a weakness, Andrew, that you haven't cried in a decade. Like, that's crazy to me.
told me I could cry.
I'm so worried about you. I can't understand. Well, you're crying now, and please, I happily facilitated that for you.
I think we're seeing the two extremes that Tommy was talking about.
It's honestly, yeah, Tommy, you're so right. There's no nuance. I mean, it's difficult to have nuance on this show anyway, but we do need to find some in this debate.
I think the point is,
let's do a little thought experiment. Let's say Tommy Lauren had to choose one of these two guys as a husband, just in some bizarre hypothetical, where the only option, she only had two options. It's Andrew Wilson or this little bloke in the middle. Who do you reckon Tommy's going to choose? It might be begrudgingly, but who do you think she's going to choose?
Should not feel they can never emote, but also they shouldn't be encouraged to believe if they're not constantly emoting, there's something wrong with them.
Well, of course, but also
that's where the pendulum's just gone too far.
You are also sort of guilty of this manosphere, Piers. You're very much in the manosphere yourself.
What do you think that means?
Well, it means that you think James Bond shouldn't cry, and that if he does, that's a weakness.
I want James Bond to be. I want him to seduce women.
Which he does.
I want him to be a ruthless, steely-eyed dealer of death to bad guys.
But also,
I want him to have a cigarette with his whiskey or his shaken lobster martini.
Maybe Andrew is your type.
And I don't want him sobbing like a baby all the time. I don't.
Like Tommy might not.
Because guess what? When you're in Her Majesty's Secret Service, you don't have time to cry all the time.
Very sad news about Her Majesty, Piers. Sadly, she did pass away, and I'm sure you cried at that, which is completely.
His Majesty now, obviously.
Tommy.
Actually, the last Bond film was under Her Majesty, so I was correct.
Fine. Great fact checking. Tommy would obviously like to go out with a man like you then, because you don't think it's okay for a man to cry.
Well, she has excellent taste.
But there are other women who do like a man that cries. Like, we're not all the same. We don't all require the same type of man. So it's fine if we all want to be different types of men, but there shouldn't be one rule for all men. And that's the problem.
All right, let me bring Sean back in and bring it back to adolescence, because this series has blown up worldwide. It's got incredible numbers of people watching, talking about it, debating. A lot of parents thinking, what should they do if they have a young teenage boy? You know, and I saw it, as I say, with my three sons, the Jonathan Haidt book about cell phones, you know, from 2010, when phones became smartphones, basically young people's brains started scrambling, and they've carried on scrambling ever since. That doesn't help. I think a lot of the issues that young men face are driven by stuff they see on their phone.
I agree. I mean, you know, for this specific instance, my wife and I were waiting to give our children phones until at least 8th grade, right? At least 8th grade. We want to monitor what they're seeing and what they're being filled with, right? Because again, they're subject to search engines. They hear things at school, then they go home, they search it on their phone. They search it in their room, and now they're wide open to this world that they don't need to be a part of because their brains haven't fully formed yet. They're still little. My son's almost 12, right? I got to be very careful of what he puts in his mind. And social media, for the things that we are doing as adults, yeah, it's pouring into our household and we're doing well with it. But for an adolescent, like these young kids, I'm seeing kids at dinners when we're at restaurant surfing TikTok while their parents are not even paying attention to what they're doing. Like that right there is a massive problem. And if we don't, as a society, get a hold of that, then this will never end. There will be more series like Adolescence that hit even harder because we're witnessing it in our own lives.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, you seem to be in agreement with some of that.
Yeah, it's poison. There's no doubt. It re-scrambles children's brains, and it's very difficult to monitor. Even if you have parental controls, they can find ways around it. At school, they have peers who will assist them in getting around it. You have to monitor it really well. Smartphone technology for my own kids, it was kind of new. I wish that I, in retrospect, had done more guarding against that myself. You don't know the dangers of that technology until children get a hold of it, and then you're left scrambling going, oh man, I wish I had known that this was going on or that was going on, but you have no idea. Now, though, we have a little bit of retrospect, and we know that it's an appropriate thing to do to guide against this type of technology, because yeah, he's absolutely right. It does create all sorts of problems for kids. I'm not sure that gets to the heart of the masculinity and feminine issue, but I totally agree with him that we should be safeguarding our children against this technology. It does seem to be very bad for them.
And James, there is pretty well unfettered pornography on the internet available to young men and women, obviously, but men are watching a lot of often quite violent, degrading sexual scenes in these porn clips they're seeing online. None of that can help in the way an impressionable young male mind goes about trying to forge a real relationship with an actual woman.
Well, I think it's important not to say young male mind. It's any person's mind, right? Like, I don't think we should victimize men. I can't believe Andrew's agreeing with me. But yeah, it's awful. I mean, I genuinely don't think people should have phones until they're 16. They certainly shouldn't have.
Well, Australia's done that, and I'm not against it. The smartphone ban till 16.
I mean, it's terrifying.
Why not?
You can't go on air on TV and say.
Australia's done more than that. They sort of banned social media for under 16s. Of course, the under 16s find ways around it, but the law's there. And they've also brought in laws where you have to have age verification to watch porn as well. So if you go to any of those sites now, you've got to either show some ID or a credit card or something to verify. Some of the companies have actually just stopped broadcasting in Australia. So I'm against censorship in general, and I'm against the government telling us what we can and can't consume, but it's hard for me to argue against that one. Of course, there's workarounds, but what can you do?
Say whatever you want. Like, I know you're pretending that you're uncensored, but you couldn't sit here and say literally whatever you want. Well, not really, Piers, because if you said something that incited hatred or racism or a terror attack,
I wouldn't want to say
be arrested.
I wouldn't.
But online,
why would I want to incite
I'm
a
not
terror
saying
attack?
that you want to. I'm just trying to make a point. Online,
you're saying I can't say what I want.
Online,
I do not want to incite a terror attack.
No, but if you did,
I'm allowed. Just to be, you're raising an interesting point about censorship.
Yeah,
we're uncensored because I would not want. I don't say anything I don't want to say.
Right.
So when you say I'm censoring, I'm actually self-censoring. I'm not. I'm not going to call for a terror attack.
I'm not saying that you would ever do that, of course, but I'm saying that if you did, there would be accountability for that because you are broadcasting to a lot of people.
Right.
But a lot of people online do not have that gate stopping them from saying horrendous things. And so therefore it can blow up online, excuse the horrible pun, and that shouldn't be allowed. There should be a system in place that stops people broadcasting things that aren't meant to be broadcast to millions of people.
One of the problems, Tommy, Toby Young, who's a British journalist, director of Free Speech Union, very, very big in promoting and defending free speech, says Adolescence, the new teen drama, is pro-censorship propaganda, partly paid for by the state. It is now being seized upon by Labour left-wing MPs as evidence we need more online censorship. And that is, of course, you talk about a swinging pendulum. What you don't want to come out of all this is an overreaction and an over-censorship, because that in itself becomes a problem.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with Sean on this point too. I think parenting has more to do with this than any of us really, can even understand. I mean, many, I'm sure, in this panel can, but parenting is, to me, the end all be all of this. I mean, you can watch horrible things online. You can listen to people say horrible things, but if you've got a good foundation with good parents at home, hopefully two, that provides you with a lot of guidance and support to navigate these things. And it doesn't really, scramble your mind in the way that those that are not blessed with a two-parent household.
It's more than parenting. I mean, she's right. It begins at home. But it's more than parenting. It's it's a whole cultural phenomenon. This is something Andrew talks about sometimes. He would be for government propaganda to promote, glorify, honor, encourage nuclear families, stay-home mothers, things like this. I remember one of our previous prime ministers, Tony Abbott. I don't know if he was prime minister at the time or if he was a candidate. He suggested, he had this little slogan, that families should have one child for dad, one child for mum, and one child for the country. And this was, oh God, how long ago? Was it 20, 25 years ago? And he was mocked incessantly for that idea. And now that the entire world's facing a population crisis, he was right.
May be impacted by it. I don't believe that censorship is ever the answer. I believe that more speech is the answer to speech that you don't like. And as much as I don't like certain people online and what they say, whether they're the Tate brothers or whoever else, I believe that they should have the right and the ability to say it. And then people like us should have the right and ability to respond to it. I think that's the healthiest way to come to a great consensus, or at least a public square where we can all debate ideas with dialogue and conversation. But I don't think that censorship is ever the answer. And I think that, our leaders in America have done a great job of emphasizing that, especially to the European countries who believe censorship is the way to cleanse or the way to legislate morality. I just don't think that's the way to do it.
Well, the instinctive reaction, certainly in the UK, for a long time now, many years, has been to censor and to ban and prohibit and so on. And I think people are beginning to wake up to the downside of that, is that once you chip away at things like freedom of speech, freedom of expression, you're heading down a pretty slippery road, which can be dictated by your government. And then that's not a place.
It's interesting though, isn't it? I mean, I just want to make a side point, and I don't need to get into it, but your government are banning books. So they are literally talking about free speech whilst also banning free speech in it that they don't agree with. So what you're saying is nice, and I agree with you in principle, but that's not literally.
Yeah, the government isn't banning books. You've got school districts who decide what books are appropriate, just deciding which books are appropriate. It's got nothing to do with banning books.
It's not the same as banning books.
You talked about freedom of speech, right? And everyone coming together and having a discussion about it. But that's not what's happening.
Yeah, but
putting
we're talking
graphic
about in the
gay
home,
porn
not in
into
school.
children's libraries is a little different.
I mean, no one should be putting porn into a children's library. I think we all agree on that.
Then why are you complaining that that's being
Because that's
banned?
not what I'm discussing. I'm discussing books that talk about diversity, equality, that talk about Black Lives Matter, that talk about gay pride.
So I don't have the same take as the rest of the panel when it comes to the idea of legislating morality. I think that there are ideas which are subversive and that we can get rid of, and that's absolutely fine to do. I don't think that we need to have unfettered access to pornography. I don't think that we need to have unfettered access to children being introduced to this type of sexuality so young. I don't think that that's necessary at all. I don't think it's an impingement on free speech at all. And not only that, there's going to necessarily be limits on every single freedom that we have. By necessity, that's the way it has to be, unfortunately. And the reason it has to be that way is because otherwise you're going to have nothing but subversives who go in and subvert your entire culture, which is exactly what happened in the UK, and it's exactly what's been happening in the United States. So we have to have some way to fight back against that.
All right, Sean, final word to you.
I just feel like, raising children is a multi-pronged approach, right? I mean, you're looking at first in the house, then you're looking at the schools, you're looking at the government, you're looking at extracurricular activities with coaches, et cetera, and different people that have their hands on the child. I just think it's important to be at home having these open conversations, right? What this drama series did for me was already had this shining light on a subject, but made it even brighter. Like, I need to open the door and talk to my child. I need to talk to my son. I need to talk to my daughter to see what's going on in the world, right? Because if I don't know what's going on, then I can't help them navigate what's going on in society.
But I think, it's interesting. It's been a fascinating debate. I just think if you don't know that your child is going down rabbit holes like that kid is in that series for that length of time, then it comes to Tommy's point, is you're failing your parenting. That is a fundamental part of parenting. Is you're supposed to be protecting these impressionable young minds as best you can. If they're spending hours after hour every day, watching and viewing incredibly disturbing content that fries their brains and makes them do stuff they wouldn't otherwise have done, you are failing as a parent. And one of the biggest issues in the world right now is a general sense of a lack of accountability for parents. They're the first feckless parents to blame everybody else. It's the government's fault. It's the police fault. It's the social workers' fault. It's the school teachers' fault, etc., etc. It's never their fault. And actually, if you just start by saying, actually, we should have done more as parents, that is a good message to send everybody. We could probably all agree on that. Great discussion.
Absolutely.
Great discussion. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Piers Morgan Uncensored is proudly independent. The only boss around here is me.
Muted. I reckon that was bloody awesome. That was Andrew, probably at his early best. I mean, he's gone from strength to strength, but that struck me as one of the early ones where he, being on Piers Morgan, having the guts to come out with such what would be considered a hard line. I reckon that was just terrific. Always enjoy watching him. I've got another one lined up. I don't think I've seen this one. So since we have a few people still interested in what's going on, I thought, why not keep going a little bit? Like I said, I haven't seen this one, so it'll be a cold reaction. It says, oh, hang on. Sorry, guys, just having a little bit of a issue getting things lined up. So it's Piers Morgan Uncensored again. The title is, There's Nothing Empowering About This. Can you be an OF creator and a feminist? I think we probably know the answer, but let's see. Let's see how it plays out. If I go off camera, it's just because I'm taking care of bits and pieces in the background. Like I said, I don't have a producer. It's just me. So sometimes I've got to go and fill up my coffee cup. Sometimes I've got to go and take care of business. I'm only ever gone for a couple of minutes, and generally I can still hear what's going on. So if I go off camera, you know why. Let's, hey, Marshall, haven't seen you around for a while. Good to see you, my man. Good morning from Washington in the great USA. Charles, you don't need to give away my secrets, man. Look, I sit up, I'm cutting back on the coffee. I've got this sort of, coffee alternative, non-caffeine. I do sometimes sneak a little bit of coffee in there just to give it a little bit of a kick. But, Mr. Kieran, love your hat. If there's a story, I'm in. If there's a story about my hat, there is a story about my hat, but it's a rather uneventful one. But all right, let's rock and roll. We'll get this one going. Like I said, if I nick off camera for a second, it's only for a minute. What am I doing here? This one. Here we go again. Let's go.
The middleman, and you're commodifying the female body. There's nothing empowering about that.
Here's my question to you: why is it not degrading to get naked for your husband if it's degrading to get naked for public men?
Yeah, because that's a very simple answer. Because,
is it because you assume your husband's more likely to respect you?
Now, somebody help me out. Is this? I don't think this is Mia Khalifa. I saw her in a video today. I was on Confluence's panel, and he was reviewing. I think it was this woman. And so if it's who I think it is, she has a similar name. She's married. She has an OF, but she only does lewd stuff. It's not like, full on, but she makes some weird arguments, but I don't think that's Mia Khalifa anyway.
Husband is the man in your life most likely to beat, rape, and murder you. Your husband's the man in your life who 58% of the time is going to cheat on you.
My only worry is that what it's become is a kind of genuine career path for a lot of young girls who might look at this and think, all I need to do is set up an OnlyFans account, take my clothes off, and a bunch of guys will pay money to watch me do my thing in a webcam or whatever it is.
A British philosopher once said, you can't spread your bum hole on a Saturday and then expect to be treated as a professional on a Monday.
The evolution of gender and feminism is a source of endless debate in popular culture. I tackle the issue head on in my new book, Woke is Dead, which includes some essential wisdom on the subject. I look forward to debating it. One question I admittedly did not think of tackling specifically was this one. Can you be an OnlyFans model and a feminist? Farha Khalidi says you can, and that she is living proof of it. Men paid to look at explicit content, blaming the women is just hypocritical. Esther Krakow, however, vehemently disagrees. So when we heard that both Esther and Farhad could be in the same studio at the same time, we thought what a perfect opportunity for a lively debate on this subject. So welcome to both of you. Esther, of course, I know you very well. Farhad, we've never met. We last appeared in a debate where you were down the line. And we're talking about Lord's provocative new album, which featured a woman's pubic hair, I believe, on the cover. And you took a screenshot of our exchange. Let's look at the clip first.
Guys think
there's nothing sexual about it. I don't disagree with some of what you just said, but clearly this is intended to be sexual. I mean, it's not. You don't literally.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Really? And that you now have that as the banner for your X account.
I thought it was a funny screen grab. It looked like you were my father confronting me with something you found on my Instagram, and I was like looking away coyly. You can also tell I only own one dress, so.
But basically, you're using me to promote your account, so I'm hoping for a share of the spoils.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you. You understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Let's get serious for a moment. So, OnlyFans is a massive business, generating billions of dollars. A lot of people doing all sorts of different things on there. It's not just about women doing sex work, whatever they want to call it. How would you categorize what you do on OnlyFans?
I mean, my content isn't necessarily that extreme, but I definitely don't want brownie points from people who are eager to slut shame the women who do more extreme content. So when I go on platforms, I just call myself a digital prostitute because, I want the backlash for it. So
a digital prostitute?
An e-prostitute, yeah.
What does that mean?
Like an e-girl or an e-boy. I just call myself like an e-prostitute. Like it's online. It's not actually physical or in the real world or tangible, but it's virtual.
And do you have sex on your platform or not?
No, I'm actually a virgin.
Really?
Yeah.
And my name is Bob.
What, you don't believe her?
Absolutely not.
Oh, why would she lie?
Well, I don't know what the connection is between, again, I mean, that's why I partly...
Are you being serious?
I'm being dead ass. And that's partly why I do OnlyFans, is because I'm trying to point out that you could be a virgin in a way that isn't about purity culture or religion. You could be a virgin in a feminist way, which means you don't want to bite the bullet and, just join hookup culture or just put out just because society tells you to. And I think it's really unfortunate that religious conservatism has a monopoly on abstinence culture because 45% of women regret their first time. 30% of women regret a sexual experience in the last 12 months, right? So I'm very interested in carving out a space for secular women, non-religious women, feminist women to also know that they can hold on to their chastity if they want to in a way that doesn't align with the toxic purity culture.
How old are you now?
I'm 26.
26?
Yeah.
So Esther, why would you not believe her when she says she's a virgin?
I don't know many virgins that strip off and call themselves e-prostitutes. I think it's quite rare.
It doesn't mean she's not.
I mean, it's definitely a unique perspective. Can I just ask why? So it's empowering to take your kit off, and I'm assuming, I don't know how extensive your
Well, what kind of thing do you do on your?
is,
I mean, sort of categorize for those who've never seen
you just gotta subscribe and see. I would say,
absolutely not. That's a good marketing though. Subscribe and see, but
subscribe and see. I mean, I offer a girlfriend experience. You could come on and I'll pretend to be your girlfriend for a little while, pretend to not be repulsed by you. I offer slutty photos and videos, and yeah, I just don't know what the connection is to virginity. There really is no.
Well, I guess if you're massively sexualizing yourself, there'll be a presumption that you've had sex, and it's quite interesting to me that you say you've never had sex.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the whole point, right? That's what I'm saying is like people are unable to conceive of virginity outside of just wanting to appeal to the male gaze and being attractive to men. And I'm not a virgin because I think it'll make me more appealing in the dating market. I'm a virgin because most women regret their first time. They regret biting the bullet. Our dating pool is full of horrible men. And I think women should wait more so that they're not just going through that ringer of sexual regret.
Esther?
I'm really speechless, Piers.
You are.
But I think I'm actually speechless. So
she doesn't have a response.
Well, no, it's not I don't have a response. First of all, this ideology. I mean, look, it's your personal belief, and you can obviously do what you want with your body. I'm just confused what you find empowering about showing pictures of your anus on the internet. Can you explain that?
I can. Well, first of all, I just want to point out that it's really interesting to me that the first time the culture and men specifically are interested in talking about the morality of sex work and how it's degrading to women and its effects on the social fabric, and namely its effects on relationships, is conveniently once women like me started turning a 7-figure profit off of it, right? Up until the advent of OnlyFans, it was exclusively feminist. It was exclusively
But there's nothing
women.
feminist about what you do. You do realize
As I was saying, it was exclusively women. It was exclusively feminists who were the sole critics of Pornhub. It was exclusively women who would protest things like Playboy. Like Andrea Dworkin put out a book on porn saying men possessing women. And in response, Playboy churned out these cartoons depicting her fucking other women, basically calling her a dyke and a man-hating bitch, right? Anytime women protested pornography, men said that you are vilifying male sexuality, and men were so eager to make porn synonymous with male sexuality, right? And I just think it's interesting.
But that's exactly what you do. Your customer base are men. You sell the girlfriend experiences to other women.
I do have some lesbians on there, yeah.
Okay, but it's predominantly men, and I don't think there's absolutely nothing feminist about what you do. You've just cut out the middleman, but you're basically working in the patriarchal economy, and you're commodifying the female body. There's nothing empowering about that. I don't know what your definition of empowerment is, but empowerment is not momentary autonomy, which is basically what you do. I can do what I want. Every human being should be able to do what they want, because that's by virtue of being a human being, you should have a freedom over your body. Empowerment is composed of 3 things. One, it's yes, exercising autonomy when you want. It's 2, being able to make those choices responsibly and to live with the consequences, which I don't think you actually can or really have contemplated it.
I agree.
The third thing is making choices that don't limit opportunities that you have in the future. There's nothing empowering.
But it seems to right best to play devil's advocate here. It seems like she ticks all those boxes, you would say, right? I mean, you know what you're doing. You're taking responsibility
I agree with what she's saying. I'm not a choice feminist. I think choice feminism is intellectually lazy. I think the choices you make.
Breakdown. Okay.
What?
There's choice feminism now. That's an interesting intellectualization. Please continue.
No, I say I'm not a choice feminist. I thought you were saying you were against choice feminist. Like you were just saying that, okay, me saying my body, my choice isn't morally interesting enough. But I need to have more than that.
There's nothing feminist about what you do because it has nothing to do with female empowerment. All you've done is cut out the
middle. Why is it?
Isn't the whole point of feminist empowerment that actually a woman can do what she wants with her body?
No, I actually don't even agree with that.
No, it's not.
It's not. Wow, I've been led up a garden path.
Here'd be my question to you. Why is it not degrading to get naked for your husband if it's degrading to get naked for public men?
That's a very simple answer.
Is it because you assume your husband's more likely to respect you? Your husband is the man in your life most likely to beat, rape, and murder you. Your husband's the man in your life.
Thanks, Marshall. Watching out for the copyright issues, but normally these guys are okay. These kind of clips, they seem to be okay, but thanks for the heads up. All right.
Who 58% of the time is going to cheat on you. Your husband's the man in your life who 50% of marriages end in divorce, and women cite that they felt disrespected, right? So why are you assuming that by sexualizing yourself for your husband, you're reserving a seat of respect from a man versus sexualizing yourself for the public domain?
Because you're not sexualizing yourself for your husband. You're engaging in intimacy in the context of a committed relationship that has
one in which he's 50% likely to cheat on you, 50% likely to end in divorce.
Everything comes with risk, but I'm sorry, treating your body like a bunch of orifices for hire is not more empowering. empowering.
Brutal.
Women that are in committed relationships that are married are much less likely to be in poverty than women that are not. There are actually societal benefits of women being in committed relationships and also not commercializing loneliness in men, which is basically what you're doing. A man paying you, a virgin, which I'm assuming is because you've never had a relationship, for the girlfriend experience
had a
is laughable. It is ridiculous. And
I
by
don't
the way,
believe in the male
I'm not
loneliness
saying,
epidemic.
I'm not
Did
saying,
you know that study
I'm not
found
saying
89% of OnlyFans subscribers are married men? The male loneliness epidemic is
because
absolute bullshit.
that's pathetic. But the point is,
let me ask.
I don't have a problem
Ladies,
with what
time
you
out,
do.
time out. Let me just try to get my head around this. So I'm curious about the economics of this because I'm told that, I mean, for instance, there's this woman, Sophie Rain, said to be OnlyFans' biggest earner with estimates of up to $50 million a year coming from her business. I mean, how much are you making?
I don't share the specifics, but I've made over $1 million.
Over $1 million in what period of time?
In 2 years.
In 2 years.
Mhm.
You did train to go to law school, right?
I was initially planning on going to law school, but I started doing TikTok full time straight out of college, and then was doing social media. Yeah.
What do your family make of what you're doing? Honestly.
Well, my father's dead, and my mom is tolerant of it. I think she was more opposed to me even putting myself out there on TikTok when I was just doing like very casual skit content and stuff, right? So to her, this is just another extension of that.
And extended family? You have any siblings?
I do have siblings. I think they just find it cool. Not necessarily the OnlyFans specifically, but I think they think it's cool that I do social media and do stuff like this.
I'm interested in this whole feminist empowerment thing because I assumed, falsely it appears, that meant the whole point of it was men shouldn't be telling a woman what to do with her body. She has power over what she does. She has power over her idea of femininity. She can do what she wants. If she wants to show off on her OnlyFans account to people prepared to pay to watch it, and it's all legal, why do you care?
I don't care, but I think the idea of calling it empowerment and somehow feminist is completely ridiculous. And this is why definitions matter. This idea that having momentary autonomy over your body is somehow empowering. I'm sorry, gorillas do.
How is it not feminist? Isn't it kind of a natural extension of the feminist narrative? Woman can do whatever you want. You know, my body, my choice. No one's going to tell me what to do. How is that not a feminist outlook? Also, they can't go with the idea. I mean, they can't go with its exploitation. That's always the argument. That used to be there were what they called pro-sex feminists and anti-sex feminists. So the ones who thought that promiscuity, the sexual revolution, was empowering for women because they can choose to do whatever they want with their own body, prostitution, stuff like this was a choice. Then there were the anti-sex feminists who said, well, the women are being exploited, you know, stuff like this. Well, I think if you want to figure out who's being exploited, look at who's parting with their money. And to have her saying, you know, she was doing a law degree, and I've seen other OnlyFans women who said they have a law degree, we're actually working in law, we're doing OF on the side, we're making more money on OF, so decided to go and do that. So they can't say it's exploiting women. So this is a natural progression of the feminist narrative. We got Cleaner over here. Haven't seen you for a long time, Cleaner. I think taxation should be work category based. People whose jobs matter more to the country pay less. People in entertainment pay close to 90%. I could just about get on board with that. There'd be technical issues in terms of who's going to decide the value of certain jobs, but that's one. I'd be prepared to take that idea for a walk. It was outlawed before and society was fine. A society that allows it is already making a mistake. Well, I'm no history buff, but I have heard history buffs say that the demise of civilizations tends to begin with this kind of thing, with degeneracy. They'll even go as far as saying female promiscuity. That's probably putting too much blame on the women. It's a general acceptance of that degeneracy. So empires often fall from from the inside. They implode.
Like every living being should and does ideally have autonomy over their body. That's a pretty low bar.
You're not comparing it to the gorilla.
I'm not. I'm just saying every living thing objectively has some sort of autonomy over their own body.
Come on, Piers. That was a metaphor or an analogy. Come on, man. Don't do that.
Talking about empowerment, which is what feminism was supposed to be. Feminism was supposed to be about autonomy, obviously, and having choice over your body. It was supposed to be about allowing women to make choices that give them the dignity and independence to pursue their own lives as they see fit. And also in pursuit of that, with the responsibility of making the choices that you're making, knowing that those choices will actually give you more opportunities in the future. None of what you do qualifies for that other than the momentary autonomy. Your options are not going to expand because there are pictures of your bumhole on the internet, right? It's going to be a lot harder if you want to be a politician, for example, or a CEO or a lawyer.
What if she doesn't want to be?
That's fine. By the way, that's fine. But part of empowerment is also being able to make those choices responsibly and live with them.
Are you in a relationship?
Hold
on. Yes.
Oh,
with a man, or?
Yeah.
How long has that been going on?
It's pretty new.
And what does he feel about what you do?
He's supportive.
Really?
Yeah, he's actually been on this show.
Really?
Yeah.
Hang on, who was it?
You know Dr. Jack Symes?
Yes. When did I interview him?
About...
Does he know that he's being...
No, hang on. I'm trying to remember who he was.
No, he doesn't know I'm on OnlyFans.
No,
does he know
that his relationship...
Wait a minute, Esther, I need to get the moment. So what was he on for on Uncensored?
With Natalie Winters talking about like the Quran and sexual violence or something.
Yes, I remember this, yes. Yeah. So did you meet him through this show?
Those gloves are weird. Just saying, those gloves are weird.
Through this show?
Yeah, was it after you saw him on the show that you...
I'm sure he saw more salacious content elsewhere. And
yeah, he subscribed to my OnlyFans. He couldn't get enough. No, I met him at another like philosophy event we were at.
But he knows what you do.
Of course.
And he's fine with that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You seem a little bit like unsure.
Well, it's not like it's gonna be like ecstatic, jumping for joy about it. But
really, but you're empowered.
He's not. Yeah, like he's supportive for sure.
Would he rather you give it up?
I don't know. We haven't talked about it yet. It's a pretty new relationship.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get straight to the point. Gold is up by around 40%. Today's show is sponsored by Oxford Natural, makers of the Optimum Day and Optimum Night all-natural supplements.
Naked, nothing degrading. I'm not getting shat on. I'm not getting pissed on. I'm not doing.
Why is that even
online.
degrading? But why do you assume that even just being in a state of undress, there's nothing degrading about it for random people that don't know you?
Why is it not degrading to do it for your husband?
Wait a minute. Time. No, I'm going to call you up on this.
Okay.
Because you on your Instagram do often post videos of yourself pole dancing. And you're very good at it.
Yeah.
But you're often quite scantily clad.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Well,
that's funny.
I need skin contact. First of all, I will tell you what.
I have a photo.
I need skin contact with the pole to actually grip the pole to do what I do. Like that's just the nature of the sport. And I certainly don't do it for the male gaze, and no one pays me for it. It's just a form of cardio and sport. But what
Really?
Yeah, it is. That's actually really difficult.
You only do it for cardio?
Yeah, I only do it for cardio.
Really?
I promise, yeah. But
British
Yeah, if she's doing it within the confines of a women's gym, where doing pole dancing is a thing they do for cardio and shit and fitness, yeah, fair enough. If she's not broadcasting it on OF or something, yeah, who cares? It's just exercise.
British philosopher once said, "You can't spread your bum hole on a Saturday and then expect to be treated as a professional on a Monday." And this is my colleague here, Esther Foucault. Why post it? Why post it? Why not just do it privately?
Because I
look
want
at
to.
this. I've never even been up.
Yeah, I was too.
I'm sure you've done other things on camera.
I do think it's.
But you can subscribe and find out.
Why is this okay? Why did she have to post it? Why did she have to post this?
Because I was in a pole club.
Oh.
And I did a move that I've been practicing.
Oh, this is worse. You did it for free.
Oh, so I should get paid.
Hiring my parents.
I should get paid. Oh, okay. Here's the thing.
So why did you post this?
Here's the thing.
Were you teaching
because I wanted to. I've actually taught as well.
Oh,
before.
I thought it has to be empowering. You can't just be your body.
I'm sorry. I'm not the one sitting on the internet, spreading my legs open, telling people to pay me for it. Telling people to pay me for it, and then saying that's somehow empowering to women. If you knew anything about
so you're posting this and saying, I'm not saying this is empowering. I'm degrading myself, but I'm posting anyway.
How is that degrading myself?
Well, she's a very highly skilled pole dancer.
Oh.
Well, it is a.
I was going to ask what can you do, but I'm sure you have to subscribe to find out. But the point I was making is, you do realize there are gradations between domestic abuse and online prostitution. Do you recognize that?
Wait, explain. What do you mean?
Well, you keep saying that what is the difference between getting naked for my husband, who's 50% more likely to beat me up and 50% more likely to rape me?
He's the man in your life most likely to kill you. So I'm asking you, why is it more
that's
degrading?
domestic violence, and actually what you decided is murder. And what's so...
That is such a ridiculous argument. I can't believe it. This is something similar to what Brian Shapiro tried to pull on that debate with Rachel Wilson, when he brings up the stats that the most dangerous environment for children is to be living in a home where the mother's partner is not the child's biological father. So like the mother's boyfriend or a stepdad, like myself. I'm a stepdad. Statistically, the most dangerous environment for a child is to have a stepdad or to have a mum has a boyfriend. And so he was trying to say, that. So he didn't say it, but he didn't make a distinction between the fact that there are good stepdads and it can work. Statistically, fair enough. But in individual instances, they can be completely different. So she's saying 58% of men leave their wives and stuff like this, and I don't know the connection between that and doing OF. I don't understand what the connection is she's making there. How is she mitigating? Kieran, you're only dangerous when on VK and 10 Bud Light, Steve. Bud Light, get the fuck out of here, mate.
Not just that. Cheating on you is a form of disrespect. The fact that most marriages end in divorce with women filing for divorce because they felt disrespected, either because of adultery, because of emotional abuse, physical abuse. They felt like their husband wasn't.
Or they divorced just because they wanted to. She's removing all the agency from women. So it's like if a woman leaves, it's the man's fault. If the man leaves, it's the man's fault. So there's no sort of responsibility on her part. And her solution is I'll have an OF account. Rocky Shepherd. I don't have 2 going. I did start one earlier, and then I had a couple of issues with it, so I took it down before it started. It's happened before where I've deleted the other one, and it still says that I'm about to do it, when actually this is the one that I'm on. I'll have to look that up. Statistically, it's less than 1% chance that a woman will be attacked by their husband. Yeah, I'd believe that.
Sell themselves.
I'm not saying they should sell themselves. I'm saying I don't subscribe to the delineation that by sexualizing yourself just for your husband rather than for the public eye, that you are somehow doing it for someone who respects you more and loves you more.
How do you feel about the likes of Bonnie Blue and these others who are, I'm gonna have sex with 1,000 men in 24 hours and stuff?
I mean, I see her kind of as more of like a performance artist. I feel like it's funny that people see her as like a consequence of feminism, when in reality she's more of a consequence of the male gaze. When she says stuff like, anyone can fuck me, like a married man, a 18-year-old boy, a father-son duo. People are like, this is the ultimate like logical consequence of feminism, and I'm like, no, it's not. She's literally holding up a mirror to the popular porn categories, which have like reigned at the top of the hub for the past like 2 decades, right? So I think it's ridiculous that people associate that with feminism.
Do you think there's a lot of hypocrisy around the criticism?
Are you not?
I think it's ridiculous that they see her as, again, like the logical consequence.
In the interview, I saw the conversation between Andrew Tate and Bonnie Blue. He actually said he kind of respected Bonnie. Not respected, but yeah, kind of respected her, because he said, at least you're being honest. He said, at least you're being honest about the state of feminism today. You know, you're just saying, yeah, fuck it. Do whatever you want. Just do whatever you want. And she's the epitome of that, just taking it to its natural, absurd extension.
Of feminism, when she's basically just like the purest form of the porn industry, which feminists were protesting for decades. And suddenly now other people want to protest only because
Some feminists were protesting. Some of them supported it.
of OnlyFans.
If you got married and had a daughter, would you want her doing this?
I would be opposed to her making that type of decision until she was at least like 23, 25. I'd be opposed to her even like putting, posting what Esther posts until she's 23, 25.
Yeah, I reckon that might be a stunt, Vintage. I don't believe a word that woman says.
I'd be opposed to her
I'm
having
almost
her
30.
sexual
OnlyFans
debut.
allows women to do
What?
it.
I'm 30. I'm not a child.
I didn't say you were. He was saying what I want my daughter to do.
OnlyFans allows you
I
to
wouldn't
do it.
even want my daughter to be having sex until she's like 23, 25, because when you look at longitudinal studies of sexual regret, you're least likely to regret those types of things when your sexual debut, when you lose your virginity,
You
is
can
around
be 18
23.
on OnlyFans. That's the legal cutoff point to start doing.
Yeah, and I'm
the
saying
kind
I
of
would
thing you're doing.
advise my daughter to wait until she's 23 to even post like a bikini photo on Instagram, because the rates of sexual regret in general just completely plummet after the age of 23.
Do you know why sexual regret, though, is higher? It's not because of the age. It's because they're in the context of casual sex.
Yeah,
and the
because
reason why
because of
and the
sexual coercion. And you're actually most likely to be sexually coerced by a romantic partner rather than a casual partner. Women report being most likely to be reported into violent sexual acts by their boyfriend or husband. And that's why pimps, for instance, are so eager to employ like the lover boy method, because they know nothing gets a woman saying yes faster to a sexual act than playing boyfriend or husband. So when you talk about sexual regret and sexual coercion, it's not more from casual sex. It's actually more likely to be caused by your boyfriend or husband.
Does it concern you that
it's actually under the influence. It's also because under the influence of drugs and alcohol, which is when a lot of sexual encounters.
Okay, but what do you think about that? The
and
fact
you're
that
actually
women are
citing
statistically
studies by the
that women
American
are more.
Psychological
What do you think of the
Association
fact
that
that
you
women
don't really know?
No, genuinely address it. What do you think of the fact that women are most likely to be pressured into sexual acts by a boyfriend or husband because that type of arrangement that you see as so loving and respectful actually primed her for coercion?
Well, first of all, that's self-reporting, so we don't actually know the
okay.
context behind it. And secondly,
Because you were just
and
so eager
secondly-
to cite sexual
and-
regret
and-
in the
I'm
context of casual sex, and now that it's inconvenient, now you're like, well, that's self-reporting. It doesn't really count.
No, but the point is, if they're in a relationship where they feel pressure to commit sexual acts, they're in the wrong relationship. And usually, do you know how to model a right relationship? When you've seen it, when you've seen people in healthy, stable relationships. I don't know why you jump from one extreme to another, because you clearly have a very negative association with sex and hang-ups around it. And you just think, I'm just going to make myself safe by being this virginal weirdo that spreads my legs on the internet. But somehow, being in a healthy, stable relationship, which has actually been the prime conditions for building a society, having loving relationships, raising children.
I am in a healthy, stable relationship. I'm not
yes, I'm sure. That's why he's so thrilled that you're on OnlyFans. But wait until you have that conversation. I'm sure he'd love the mother of his child to have a bumhole spread on.
Does it concern you that OnlyFans is owned by a Ukrainian billionaire who's making a fortune?
No,
out of
because it's empowering.
women like
because
you do what
women
you
have
do?
cut out the middlemen, so it's empowering.
My point being, he's a man. Does it bother you?
What
that-
industry isn't run by some male billionaire? I don't know what that has to do with anything. And that's kind of my point.
Speaking about kids, I actually think women who choose to do OF should actually forfeit the whole idea of having kids, because that's just going to be abusive for the kid. There's no way around that. I just think, you're going to say, like I've seen them say things like, I'll take down all my content, or I'll have a conversation with them. They'll be prepared. I just think if you do that, just say I'm not going to have kids, because it would be selfish for you to have kids in that context.
I'm not going to argue
it's
that
the patriarchy, isn't it?
I'm not going to argue.
Barbie would have a fit.
I'm not going to argue that a lot of the sex work industry isn't rife with exploitation, but the way I see it is like you could look at the cocoa industry, and a lot of that's also rife with like really unethical labor practices. That wouldn't make it unethical for me to grow chocolate in my backyard and eat it, right? So I think we need to be able to separate the immorality of like the supply chain
let me
and
ask you,
labor
look, just-
practices of
look, I
porn
don't-
and the actual morality of the product.
Fine, I don't know you.
So even if there's a lot of men taking advantage of these women and coercing them, that doesn't make it inherently wrong.
I hear you. Listen, you've got a sort of machine gun style of defending yourself. What I haven't seen much from you is a smile. I'm not entirely sure that you massively enjoy
You have to
this.
subscribe for that, Piers.
No, it's not that. I just wonder how much you actually enjoy it, or whether it's a job and it's making you lots of money, but that actually, if you didn't have to do this for the money, you'd be out of it in a million miles an hour. Does it actually make you happy?
I do enjoy it because I grew up in a pretty conservative Muslim household. And what's interesting about a lot of these purity cultures is that they claim to be so anti-sex, and in the process of it, they sexualize you relentlessly. You're constantly being sexualized. They're making sure, your skirts are long enough, that your clothes aren't too form-fitting. And I found that so sexually uncomfortable for me. And I find what I'm doing now, yes, I do find it liberating having gone through that. Yes.
Do you?
I do.
Or
What do you
You
think?
could just be somewhere in the middle and just make decisions for yourself and understand that actions have consequences. You don't necessarily have to sexualize yourself to feel liberated.
Why did you post that? You didn't answer my question.
Because
you wanted to. Why did you
that's
post
the point.
it?
I don't just see myself as a sexual object. I'm actually intelligent. I'm confident. And
Oh,
I don't.
I'm
I don't.
not.
I don't
I'm
feel
not.
the
Am I
need-
not
Hold on,
intelligent,
I don't
Piers?
feel.
Well,
I
she
don't
certainly
feel
strikes me as intelligent
Yeah,
and
okay, of course.
confident.
But
So
the thing
what's the
is,
difference? Why is it
here's-
okay for
here's-
her to spread her bumhole on
here's
the
the
internet, but
difference.
it's okay because she's also intelligent, successful? I'm also very
I'm
intelligent
not charging
and
people
successful.
for it, and it's in the context
That's
of a sport.
worse.
Do you?
That's worse. They're wanking to you
look
for
at
nothing.
Look at the runners in the Olympics, like the female 100-meter sprints. They're wearing literally bum shorts that show their bums and their legs, and a sports bra.
That's
but
a
they're
great
doing it in
point.
the context of the sport.
If you were running like miles per day for
Oh,
free
so
versus for money,
so you're
the
talking
person
about
winning-
something you have no experience of. You've never tried pole. You've never done anything. But because it doesn't qualify for the kind of sports that's okay with you, you think you're drawing a moral equivalence. Pole is a sport.
I didn't say it wasn't. What?
But I'm doing that in the context of a sport.
Okay.
Our gymnasts.
And mine's in the context of a job.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, here's the thing. Bottom line, I don't really care what you do. I don't have a problem with it. I'm happy you're getting paid and you find it fulfilling.
And I'm
the
happy
point,
you enjoy
the
pole
line
dancing.
I'm
happy you enjoy
drawing
pole
is
dancing.
this.
I'm happy
There is
I'm happy
nothing-
you picked the sport that
there is
correlates with
nothing
a form of sex work. You didn't have to do
there
that,
is
but you
nothing
chose to do it because
feminist
you
or
enjoy it.
empowering about what you do. That's just where I draw the line. Because
And
there are
you
women
haven't-
around
you
the
haven't-
world.
you haven't
There are women around the
explained how.
world. There are women around the world that don't have the privileges of living in a Western democracy like you, that can call the police if they're getting abused. There are women around the world that are actually being pimped out by horrible men, sleeping with probably a dozen men a day.
Didn't I
don't
say
have
that?
any-
Didn't I
don't have
literally just
any-
say that you have to be able to separate
hold
the
on.
morality from the product, from the practice? Same with chocolate.
It's
Would you
all-
say,
but,
Piers,
my
would you
dear,
say
it's all
chocolate?
prostitution.
Would you
It's
say
all
chocolate is
prostitution.
objectively immoral?
You're as
because,
much a hooker as
because-
they are.
Would you say
It's all
chocolate is
prostitution.
objectively immoral just because the supply chains tend to be
I don't
immoral?
think you can look at my physique and expect me to say chocolate is immoral.
Well, chocolate is
I had a very
definitely-
nice bounty bar
what do you
only
think
half
of-
an hour ago.
What do you think of that analogy?
It's a fruit. It
What do you
doesn't
think
choose
of- What
to
do you
be
think of that
green.
analogy?
Do you know what I really think about this? It's interesting. I personally, my view of feminism is actually that women should be able to do what they like without men controlling their lives, telling them what to do, blah, blah, blah. If you want to do what you're doing and it's legal and people want to pay for whatever it is that you offer up, I don't care. It's fine. My only worry is that what it's become is a kind of genuine career path for a lot of young girls who might look at this and think, all I need to do is set up an OnlyFans account, take my clothes off, and a bunch of guys will pay money to watch me do my thing privately in a webcam or whatever it is. And I think that is the bit of it that concerns me, is
I
that a
agree.
whole generation of young girls think they're a bit. I think privately in a webcam is a contradiction in terms. Just saying. Like they did with the Kardashians in a different way, is that there's a shortcut to fame and fortune that involves no actual skill. It doesn't mean you're not intelligent, doesn't mean you're not beautiful, any of those things. It's not a skill. Anyone can do it. And are we creating a whole generation of young girls who think this is a better career path because it's more lucrative?
I agree. That's
than
why. That's
doing
why
actual
I
skills.
initially said, like, when they asked me, like, I don't share my income publicly. This was the first time because, like, I don't want to encourage women to go into it. And I always say in every podcast appearance I do that I don't think girls should go into it. The average income you make is $100. The median income is $30 a month. And for me,
on OnlyFans.
On OnlyFans. For
Right.
me, I was already sitting on 2 million followers. I was already doing social media full time. I knew I was going to be able to retire off it and cash out off of it. That's not the case for
And when
most
do you want to
women.
retire?
When do I want to?
When do you want to get out of it?
I mean, I love doing it. I think it's so fun. So, I mean, I'll keep it going for.
Or do you
probably-
just love the money? Be honest.
I'm going to be honest with you. I love this more than the money. I love defending it. I love the smoke.
But
I
if
love
you were
the
making no-
backlash. I
if
love
you-
being slut shamed. I think it's really fun.
Well, I'm
I
not
would,
slut
I would
shaming you.
trade all the money in the world for this.
But the thing is,
I've got no intention of slut shaming. I think it's entirely
well,
down
you're
to
not
you.
in a position
There's
to
no-
because
there's
you're
no
upside down on a pole and stuff.
well,
So.
yeah, because I actually have a skill because I'm athletic. Anyway, no one's
So
slut
if I do
shaming
that on
you.
OnlyFans, I'm skilled now. Would you be supportive of my OnlyFans if I did everything upside
Here's the thing,
down?
I actually follow pole dancers, many of whom are former gymnasts that actually do this, and I don't have a problem with it. Again, I don't know why you think I'm so invested in your life that I care about what you're doing. The point that I'm making is there is nothing feminist or empowering about what you're doing. Empowerment means you actually create opportunities for yourself. There's a long-term look at hold on. There's a long-term perspective of empowerment. A heroin addict doesn't create long-term opportunities for himself because he's engaging in momentary autonomy of taking in heroin. If women that fought for the choices of women wasn't because we want
You know a difference though? Heroin.
Here's my question.
There's a big
Why not carve out opportunities for myself by getting on a show like this, making $1 million?
Because you cannot become a lawyer or a politician because there will be pictures of your butthole on literally billboards around cities.
Do you think if you ran for office, that photo would not be plastered all over every commercial? They would say, you want this woman running your state or your country?
Yes, that's fine.
That's fine. Then it's fine for me too. We agree.
Oh, okay. So
Got to say, I don't think either of you are actually going to become politicians.
Yeah,
why?
Are you? Have you got any plans to?
No, I definitely do. But the thing is, I think there's something deeply offensive about the sacrifices that women have made to give women the choices to be able to advance themselves in their lives and actually pursue things that they want, and being compared to online prostitutes, which are a bunch of 20-something-year-olds that generally just don't want to be waitresses and actually just want to get easy money online. I think there's something deeply offensive about that.
Well, it's an interesting debate. And I'm not slut shaming you for one moment. And I think you put up a good defense.
Yeah.
You put up
I think
you
like the controversy more
a
than
good
anything.
critique. No, I think it's an interesting debate. I suspect my bet is that you'll be out of this in about 3-4 years. and
Well,
you'll be
nature
glad
has
to be out of
something
it.
to do with it. Most people don't want to pay a 45-year-old for the girlfriend experience.
Well, on that
Something
bombshell,
like that, yeah.
we will draw things to a close. Thank you both very much. I appreciate it.
Well, that was bizarre. It's so funny trying to hear the argument from the side in favour of OF. The arguments just sound so ridiculous. Like she's using what sounds like reasonable arguments, but if you just open your ears a little bit, you can tell it's just completely insane. Completely insane. Oh, what's he doing up there? Get off there. That's better. We're going to listen to some ex-OnlyFans people. I'm just going to try switching things around here a little bit in the way that I'm managing the screens. I want to try something. Nothing too crazy, just rearranging the layout of how I manage the resources that I'm managing here at any given time. Just going to flip it around. She just tries to sound smart and use her books to distract from how wrong she is. Yep, pretty much. So let's hear from some ex-OnlyFans women. I really hope saying that doesn't get attention from YouTube. I mean, I'm reviewing streams that actually are using the words and talking about it. So how can they hit me for that? What do we got? Which one is it? This one. Let's see how this goes.
Or like attraction to men in general anymore.
Up next, it's time for Brad versus TikTok, my daily segment where I take on the craziest ideas going viral on the Clock app.
Pronoun of the day is slugs.
Don't forget to subscribe and stick around if you haven't yet, and please hit that like button and comment with your thoughts as we go along. Now today, we're going to react to a now deleted TikTok that went viral from an OnlyFans creator explaining why she regrets her decision to do OnlyFans.
My mental health since I've started this has just slowly been on such a decline. I feel a little bit dead inside. I feel completely desensitized. Not to sound funny, but I really don't feel any type of desire or attraction to men in general anymore. Just know that if you are a person who's ever been interested in doing this, there really are so many downsides at this point, and I'm willing to admit this now. There's no amount of money that you can give me right now to make me feel like giving myself away in certain aspects, even if they're just a few photos or whatever online. It almost isn't worth it anymore. And while I did have such a strong start and it was so much fun in the beginning, after getting burnt out, I started to just feel really differently about the types of messages that I was getting. Seriously, if I had any type of ability to share the things that people have said, just how disgusting they are, and also when I get curious and nosy sometimes, I'll go look at their profile and they have a whole girlfriend or a whole wife. And sometimes even disgustingly enough, they have kids. It makes me feel so conflicted with doing this. When I really sit down to think about what the purpose of all this is, it's really just to visually please a bunch of men. I've been sort of exploring the idea of maybe just having my content be focused on, things that I'm actually interested in, which ultimately is not pleasing men in any way, shape, or form. Y'all can keep your money at this point.
So I wanted to talk about this video because to me, it showed a side of the conversation about OnlyFans and about the new wave of pornography that often goes under-discussed or undercovered. I do believe in freedom, and if the person is an adult, I do think they should be allowed to make an OnlyFans, create whatever kind of explicit content they want, and sell it to people who want to buy it. I'm not somebody who supports banning that or making it illegal, and I'm never gonna be. But at the same time, I would strongly encourage anybody considering doing this to think seriously and deeply and do a lot of research about the benefits and the downsides and the actual facts involved in this. Because unfortunately, there's this depiction on the internet of all these OnlyFans girls making tons of money and what a luxurious and amazing lifestyle they end up having and flying all around the world. But that's just totally not representative of what it's actually like for most people. You're just seeing the top 1% or whatever. And while I think we should have forgiveness and empathy and space for anybody who quits this line of work, there is some aspect to it that is irreversible. To be blunt, once you show hole on the internet, you can't really undo that. And so I worry for some of these OnlyFans girls that they're going to be 10, 15 years from now massively regretting this when their sons are getting bullied on the playground by people showing butt pics of their mom to them and making fun of them. And I'm not surprised, although I do feel bad for her, that doing this kind of...
I saw one story about a mother who was picking up her kids from school and she had her OnlyFans advertised on the side of her car.
Work has negatively affected or perhaps even hopefully temporarily destroyed her ability to relate to or connect with men. That said, I do think it's unfair to draw any sort of sweeping conclusions about men from a very skewed sample of the type of people who would sign up for an OnlyFans account, for example. And we've got to debunk the myths about OnlyFans. For example, the median earnings, the typical OnlyFans creator earns just about $180 per month or $140 after taxes. So most of the people making this decision that's in some ways unfortunately irreversible and might haunt them are barely even going to make money off of it. They're not going to make anywhere near enough to have a career or a lifestyle or to buy themselves cars or houses or whatever you see from the top 1% of creators that go viral and become internet famous. Odds are that's probably not going to be you. And my heart goes out to the young women and also some young gay men who've been enticed by this basically false or very unrealistic and unlikely promise to go into this line of work that has serious downsides and ramifications that don't get discussed enough and then regret it. I really do feel bad for them. So I wanted to highlight this video, not to shit on this young woman in the way that many creators have, because while I think she's made some decisions that I would seriously question and wouldn't want someone I care about to make, ultimately, I don't want to see anybody in pain like this. And I'm not sure she was really well equipped with all the facts before making the decision that she made. And that's what we really need about this, is just much more awareness and information about the sometimes dark reality of OnlyFans. Like I said, when we're talking about consenting adults, I'll always support your freedom to do what you want with your body. But people should be really careful and give a lot of thought to the decisions they're making before going into this type of online work under very dubious and often false expectations and pretenses. That's just
on a recent
Well, actually, hang on. I don't like the way I rearrange things. Give me a second. I'm going to put that back. I preferred it the other way. Just doing a little bit of housekeeping here. Switching things around. Sorry, guys. Bear with me a second. Just got to... I'm juggling monitors, and so I'm just working out what's the best way to arrange these things. Hang on, where'd the other one go? That'd be... I want that one over there. Oh, yeah, that's not really working. I know it's riveting. It's riveting content. Just making sure I've got my ducks in a row. All right, so we're okay there. Right, we're back on track. Now, to... What did we get? AI is bailing out of mums like I could make an AI video of Kieran riding emus to war. On that, I do have just a little side note. I do have a photograph of the infamous emu wars. There we go. It was a true event. It actually happened. There it is. That's it. By the way, we won. Don't let anybody tell you any different. We won the emu wars. My evidence is, how many emus do you see live streaming on the internet these days? Okay, we won. And then we tamed the kangaroos and we turned them into racing animals. Just saying. Oh, there were many Dundees killed that day, let me tell you. It was a massacre on both sides. But we prevailed. We prevailed. Okay, another regret video.
About doing OnlyFans, please don't. What happens with that is we see statistics like the average wage of an OnlyFans creator is $180 a month.
After having my OF for about a year, I've come to realize that I wasn't educated beforehand in the fact that will ruin a lot of big career paths for people.
So today we're going to be taking a look at some people who regret making their OF account. I have to be pretty careful on how I speak because an older video talking about the office siren trend ended up getting limited on YouTube, and what we're going to see today is definitely worse. We have a lot of stuff to go over along with comments from you guys from
Oh, I saw the office siren thing. It was awful. It was women sort of, you know how women, often it's women who pick up on these trends where they'll be doing some thing they all do, and they were all getting dressed up in really kind of provocative clothing to go to the office. There's not much meat on them, mate.
previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's just jump right into it.
What's one thing you wish you could undo? For me, it's OnlyFans. Yep, I did OnlyFans. And at the time, it felt like it was empowering, like I was in control, like I was just, I don't know. I really was just following the wave. Makes me sick to my stomach when I think about it. Me putting myself out there, jeopardizing my safety, my image, my body for weirdos, stalkers, men who literally didn't see me as nothing but a fantasy. You know what they don't tell you is that the platform is going to affect your reputation. It's going to make dating feel impossible. And the men that do date you, they're going to treat you like trash.
She says they don't tell you that. I thought that would have been sort of self-evident, to tell you the truth. I don't understand that. Like, surely it wouldn't take much cognitive effort to understand what the implications of what you're doing when you decide to do that.
9 times out of 10, they don't even see you as real. They just see you as content. And the money, babe, is not what they promised. I promise I've made just as much, if not more, posting on social media.
And we'll go right over to the comment section. Why do we never hear these stories enough? I only searched for this because someone made a video saying that people are regretting it, which I had to see if it was true. Because most of the videos are OF creators saying that this is the best thing ever. It's such easy money, there are no consequences, basically everything's perfect. Which, as we'll see in this video, is a marketing tactic by the large creators along with the owners of the site. But we got a comment from you guys right here. The average OF creator makes $150 per month, and the guy that created OF made $1 billion. Basically, it's digital pimping. I couldn't agree more.
Again, a lot of people think that, oh, I don't have to have a lot of followers. I can just jump on and do this in secret and I'll just make a bunch of money. Well, what happens with that is we see statistics like the average wage of an OnlyFans creator is $180 a month. And that's because so many people are jumping on thinking that they don't have to do anything. They post all of these pictures. They don't earn any money. And then
I'm pretty sure this woman, if I'm correct, I've seen her interviewed. She used to be an OF recruiter. So she was hired on a management level to recruit young women to do OF. And she kind of presented as though she didn't really understand what she was doing. I find that hard to believe. She's out of the industry. If it's the person I'm thinking of, it's an Australian accent, and the woman I'm thinking of is Australian. She kind of presented it as though I joined a business and didn't really know. She was talking about how they recruit girls through or women through Instagram and stuff like that. Try to hook them into signing up to management through OF. And but she kind of gave this impression that she didn't really understand what the end product was. I find that very hard to believe.
And that's actually on the internet forever, and you really can't get it down. In 2023 or 2021, in 2021, there was 2.1 million creators on OnlyFans, and only 300 of those 2.1 million made more than $1 million a year. So the margin is very low for people that are actually making a lot of money. So the realisticness, as I said, is you're going to jump on, you're going to see how competitive this is. You're going to post a bunch of really, really full-on content that you probably didn't want to do in the first place. You're not going to make a lot of money from it. And to get your account taken down is really difficult. It's not easy. And so then you're stuck with this online for forever, potentially. And so that's a reality that we need to understand. And again, it's because we're softly manipulated by social media to think that this is easy, this is a positive, and it's a get-rich-quick scheme. scheme.
And that's all we really see online now, whether it's the course sellers, the real estate empires, digital marketing, or OF, everything you could get rich quick. And that's just honestly not the case. And we got a couple of comments that go well with the last clip. In 2006, before graduating college, our professor went through and had his TAs search for everyone on the internet. He came to class with printouts of all the things that would prevent us from getting jobs. He wanted us all to remember what's on the internet is there forever. And that's just the early days of Facebook. Now it's way more complex, especially if you have an OF account. Another one here. I have a cartoon channel that I thought no one at work knew about. It's nothing bad, but they found it and started asking me when I was going to make more. I can only imagine being an OF creator. We'll talk about the job scene after making an account a little bit later in the video, but we'll just move on.
There's a lot of scams that go on here, and it really worries me when I see these young girls wanting to join OnlyFans and join into this content creator world, and it's scary. Like, I've seen some like doing this for so long, I've seen a lot of material out there. I've seen a lot of men doing crazy to women out there. Like, it's scary. So when I have kids, oh my God, I am not letting them on any social media because it's freaking
It's that crazy.
So I urge females and other people getting into the OnlyFans industry to really, really look into it and really consider what your life can be. Like, yeah, you can make a lot of money, make a name for yourself. And there are the girls that go into OnlyFans, get popular on social media, and then get out and run it really well and be still very successful with the brands. But I've seen that a lot less than the girls that are stuck and can't get out of their specific niche.
And I think that's the overwhelming majority of people. And we got another example here of how bad things could get. I'm going to have to be very choice with my words, but OF model left for dead after Dubai porta potty party. The model left for dead after suspected party has made a remarkable comeback. The 21-year-old Ukrainian had her hair cut off with a knife and was while also suffering a broken spine and leg. Now you can read the full story, but somebody summarized it in the comment section that I don't think I'm really allowed to read, or this video will get age restricted, but this is not a one-off incident. There are many examples of this with OF models or Instagram models being flown out to these areas, to these parties, being offered $20, $50, $100,000 for a weekend. And if you got into this to make money as fast as possible, it seems very tempting. And at that point, you are legitimately putting your life in your hands. This is a lot more serious than people think.
Okay, I'm continuing my series of why you shouldn't make an OF. And disclaimer, this is coming from someone who happily does. I make videos like this as educational and safety content because there are so many things that I love about this job, but I don't want to over glamorize it. I want to give you the full truth of the entire industry and avoid girls going into something like this for the wrong reasons or getting completely blindsided once they are actually in this industry.
So I have gotten, I think, 3 messages in the last few weeks along these lines, but this is the first person who's actually subscribed to me to say something like this. So I got this message last night. This is the craziest thing I've done, subscribing to your OF because I have a crush on you and I'm too nervous to go up to you at the bar that I go to when I'm with my friends. This is the first time I saw it, blah, 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 had a crush, subscribe, right? This is how I responded. I said, I'm going to be very frank and let you know that I'm not interested in someone who cannot find the courage to speak to me in person, but goes out of his way to find me on OF to text me. Super inappropriate and super weird. This is not a dating site. This is my job. Would recommend trying to actually politely speak to a woman in person instead of doing this next time. A lot of us like to keep our personal and professional lives separate. Please do not try to speak to me in person now either. And I blocked him.
Okay, so a couple of things. This is the 3rd time this has happened to this woman in just a couple weeks. Is this really what you want your life to be? And there's always a possibility when this person blocked whoever it was for everything to get way worse. I feel like you could understand what I'm trying to say because the people who would subscribe and pay money for this probably aren't the most upstanding citizens on the planet. So yeah, this is not easy, fast, or safe money. This could be extremely dangerous.
What's the biggest lie people believe about OF money? How much people make? Biggest lie that everybody believes because managements tell girls to lie about how much they make, so it seems like, ooh, why does she make that much money? People do make a lot of money, but majority of the industry makes like $100 to like $1,000 a month. Not everybody is making $70 million in a year. Nobody actually probably is.
But those are the titles that you see in news articles, people making 10, 20, 40 million dollars a year. And all they have to do is Photoshop a simple screenshot and everybody just believes that they're making 8 figures. And she's exactly right. It's another marketing tactic. How could this person be making so much money? I have to go and see. And then you pay for it and bring in more money. And even though this next one is a skit, this is basically exactly what happens.
I just made $1 million this month and it's been going insane because you know why? I put in the work and you could too. Just follow me and also make sure to subscribe to my course. My food is here. I gotta go, guys. Oh, peasants. Hi. Yeah. Yes, food delivery. Yeah. Okay. You want a tip? No, I'm not tipping you. No.
What? Didn't you make like a lot of money?
No, it was all a lie. And also, yeah, that's how you stay rich. Yeah, you don't get any money. Yeah, get out of here, you peasant food delivery guy. Ugh.
I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely shocked that we have influencers lying about their income just to be able to make more money online. Who would have thought?
I don't believe people make money from OnlyFans. Oh, don't get me wrong. I believe some people do. But did you know that OnlyFans used to pay people to recruit? Like an MLM. So all of these women saying they make $100,000 a month off OnlyFans, they were just trying to get you to sign up for commissions.
It's almost like it was part of a business plan, especially for the owner who's a billionaire. And we have tons of people at 18 years old thinking that they could be the top creators as well. And all they do is get chewed up and spit out by the system.
If you are a woman that does OnlyFans or used to do OnlyFans, I need you to do something for me. Hopefully you don't do OnlyFans anymore. Speak out more to young women about how detrimental to their health and well-being it is to do that job. In my previous post, I got one comment that's like, well, what do you expect girls that used to do OnlyFans to do? I feel that you have a moral obligation to, now that you've been in the position that you've been in, tell young women all the negatives. Because all young women have been seeing, like teenage girls, all they've been seeing is, oh my God, I started an OnlyFans and then I make $1 million.
And that goes back to the first clip where it's almost like it's silenced on social media. You only see the positives. I got an OF as soon as I turned 18 because I wanted a little bit more money for university. I had 10 fans max. I deleted it about 3 months in because an IRL friend found it and I got terrified. I regret it deeply. My wake-up call was when this guy at my gate at the airport was looking at me intently and I became so paranoid that he could have been one of my clients.
You know, I've even seen people who have, like, OF women who have made tons of money and still like feel terrible, like it's destroyed their soul. I'm thinking of Lana Rhodes. She did some of the most hideous stuff. Like she did the really hideous stuff in the industry early on. Don't know if she was OF. She might have been just in the traditional industry. And then she had a kind of a meltdown and got out of the industry. And she's had a YouTube channel where they discuss things and things like that. But I believe the last I saw, I think she was thinking about going back into it again. It was really, really weird. But yeah, there are plenty, women who make the money, but at what cost,
And I nearly had a panic attack. Is that what you want to be like for the rest of your life? I definitely wouldn't. I was a scripper and I was very paranoid walking around. And guess what? I was right. Some guy stalked me to my home. Could have had the exact same situation with the previous clip of somebody messaging that girl when he saw her at the bar. It destroyed my self-confidence and mental health. I felt like I wasn't worth anything if I wasn't attractive. And we got another comment from you guys right here. I know a girl that was a model. She ended up doing OF. It lasted about a year and she had to go back to bartending. Well, it depends on what you want to do because sometimes after you make an account, those doors are completely shut.
So I have an OF. I've had it for about a year now. And some things I really wish I was educated on beforehand are things like career pathways. I've always wanted to be like a psychologist, a philosopher, like a writer, something.
What? Then why the hell did she do OF? Big money, she thought?
Along those lines. And after having my OF for about a year, I've come to realize that I wasn't educated beforehand in the fact that that will ruin a lot of big career paths for people.
Okay, so for most, I feel like that would be pretty obvious. But again, with
That's what I
people being
thought.
on social media 24/7, if you're seeing this from 14 to 18 years old, of all of these random people saying, I make $1 million a month, this is so easy, you could do whatever you want. It does end up starting to warp your brain, and you could have consequences like this. And there's another comment with a similar situation. Yeah, it really hurt me getting a job now, and it sucks. And here's one from you guys. I had a coworker whose daughter got kicked out of school for doing OF. She was using her dorm room, and the school's logo was in the background.
Some people, like, they don't understand that not everything is for them. Like, not everybody's gonna succeed doing everything that they try. Like, you're only not gonna go, I don't know. Why would you drop out on your last semester of school? Last semester of college, you're gonna drop out of college to start only. I'm not here to say anybody is chopped, but not every profession is for everybody.
Okay, so I looked a little bit more into this, and the guy was talking about the clip up on screen, which is exactly what he was talking about. This woman was tired of college, only one semester left, and she was quitting to start an OF. And I found some of her social media, and to be honest, she doesn't really have a following at all. This account has 1,300 followers. There's another one with under 6,000, and then going over to the Instagram, there's only about 300. So those types of social media accounts are what would be funneled into an OF account. But if you don't really have a presence in the first place, you're basically going to make no money. And you decided to drop out of college when you were this close to being done to pursue this type of career. I feel like this is a regret in the making.
If you're young and impressionable and you're thinking about doing OnlyFans, please don't. Okay, like, this is to all my fellow young ladies out there who got sold this, pipe dream that they can get famous off it, they can make all this money. And I know you're thinking of like Sophie Rain and all of those other girls, and now Piper Raquel, very unfortunately, who, but they've made a killing, but they've made all this money. It is very rare to make that much money off of it, okay? And to make that much money off of it, and the second you turn 18 to immediately become a millionaire, you have to have a cult following of people already built up that were basically waiting for you to do this. Okay. And I'm not disparaging them. Like, this is not something that like I'm coming on here and saying that.
I saw a bloke being interviewed on Soft White Underbelly, and he was a manager for OF girls, and he only took on clients who were making over $1 million a year. And he explained the sort of pipeline and the work that they put in to actually make that happen. Like, they're posting at least 5 times a day on Instagram, on X. The pipeline, as far as I know, I've never looked at OnlyFans, so I've got no idea how it works. But I heard someone saying that you can't sort of search within there or something. There's no kind of algorithm to promote. I don't know if that's changed. But the actual pipeline into it is through Instagram and through X. So the amount. So these women who think I'm just gonna get my gear off on a camera and people will turn up and give me money. It doesn't work that way.
Like, they're horrible and like all of them are bad people. Like, no, I mean, in all honesty, I feel very bad for them, but you're not the same as them. Like, you are not going to immediately become a billionaire the second you do it. In fact, most women who do it never end up making more than like a couple $1,000s at the very most. And for what? for what? Like, you are on the internet forever, and anyone who knows you, anyone who you love can find that.
So what does that mean for the last example with the creator having a few thousand TikTok followers and just a couple hundred on Instagram? You're not going to be like these people, along with them most likely lying about how much they're making in the first place. Like I said before, it is very easy to Photoshop a couple screenshots. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, I was muted again. Hey guys, it's been a very interesting show tonight. I didn't expect it to go that way. Started off just doing a little review of Andrew Wilson on Piers Morgan, just because I felt like getting online tonight, and felt that was quite an interesting little channel of streams that we went through, and the comments have been really insightful. I've really appreciated you all being here. Not trying to be mean, but if what the fuck were these girls thinking anyway? They aren't that good looking, and they thought they would get rich taking off the clothes, bro. That's brutal. That's pretty brutal. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'll put a link. Oh, there's not really a story. It's not really a thing. Hang on, we'll pick up cleaners. The women they had advertising that they made over 100K a month were fives at best. Their marketing was specifically towards the middle and below of women. Yeah. Yep. Right. So if you guys want somewhere else to go, there's a guy called Mike Ball. Some of you might know him. He's the only one that I can see who's live at the moment. I mean, for heaven's sake, it's Wednesday or Tuesday or something. So I guess most respectable people are in bed or doing something productive with their lives. Mike's a good bloke. He's a really interesting guy. He does do a bit of more like political commentary, stuff like that. But if you feel like dropping over there, if you want somewhere to go and check out, I'll post his link there in the chat. I can't do raids. I'm not monetized yet. So there's his link. If you do drop in over there, just let him know Kieran said hi. And yeah, thanks everybody for dropping in. Thanks to everybody in chat. I appreciate it. And no doubt I will see you on the next one. See you guys.